Hello and welcome to the Good Buddies Anime Podcast. I am your good buddy Brandon.
I'm your good buddy Roger. I am your boy tonight, and I am a gentleman.
Why is this happening? What?
Me and Brandon were just talking about
his favorite band, Fall Out Boy.
Not my favorite band, Fall Out Boy. Just the fact that I do know some damn songs. Because Brandon
How did we get on this?
Brandon says he's going to be singing some annoying songs throughout this whole thing.
You tried to get me to say some embarrassing shit on the microphone, and I was like, all right,
because you said it right before I turned
and I said, all right,
on.
motherfucker, I'm just going to drop in a bunch of songs you hate just to fuck with you. But anyway, this is the worst opening we've ever done. Is this the worst one?
I don't know, man.
I feel like this is the worst one so far.
I don't know. I feel like this isn't the crappy song and Fall Out Boy podcast.
Dial 8 on your phone if you think that this is the worst opening we've done so far. And we'll see if we can lower that bar next week.
Does iPhones have dial tones? Is
Good
that a thing
God,
that happens?
no, it isn't. Come on, you're just wasting time.
You damn right I am.
Roger, listen. Rod, you know
what
listen, folks. Podcasting's hard. You know what's even harder? Segues. What have you been watching, buddy?
Oh man. So I finished up Fooly Cooly, of course.
Yep, we both got there.
I caught my regulars, dude. I got on that MHA. I was pumped about that.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
Got to see Bakugo's mom. I'm like, hell yeah, that's cool. She looked real angry.
Yeah, she did. She sure did.
That's that shit I like.
And his poor little dad looked like he'd get dominated.
He looked pretty sad.
Oh man.
Oh no.
It was a good episode though, and then I watched all my other regular stuff. Full Metal Panic gave a bullcrap recap episode again this week.
Oh no, you sad about it?
You bastards.
Oh.
But aside from that, I caught my new episode of Hina Matsuri. There's only one episode left. I need to go catch that. It might already be out.
Oh shit.
But
already behind the curb.
Aside from that, I haven't really got to watch much. My mom has been staying over with us the past few nights. We're working on getting some stuff set up for her, so
getting a little personal here. That's all right.
Nah, it's not personal. She's sleeping. My mom is couch surfing right now. She surfs right onto my damn couch.
There's nothing wrong with that, man.
Nope. What have you been watching, dude?
Mostly the same stuff. Caught my Fooly Coolies. Caught my MHA. Caught the second episode of Hanebado, the badminton anime I was talking about. That show's pretty legit, man. I'm enjoying it. So it's only 2 episodes in. I do like it.
How are them physics doing? They still...
It wasn't crazy? As wild this time. It wasn't as wild, but they do a pretty good job of giving you good attention while people are out there playing what I would refer to as goofy tennis. But it is pretty great, man. I'm enjoying it a lot. Fun stuff, fun little sports anime, a lot of tension.
A lot of shuttlecocks.
A lot of shuttlecocks. All right. But yeah, man, it's pretty...
Shuttlecock to the face.
It was fairly enjoyable. I liked it quite a bit. But yeah, man, beyond that, not a whole hell of a lot. I told you, apparently this is just going to be a trend for me now, is downloading or going back to an old video game on my PlayStation 4 and trying to platinum it. Just finished up Skyrim, got all them trophies, and now I'm fucking with Final Fantasy 7, which has a lot of stuff that isn't hard. It just takes a long-ass time to do it.
Yeah,
and that'll keep me busy for at least a few weeks. I mean, basically, I'm trying to force myself not to spend money on new games because them bitches $60 a pop.
Dude, you got some of those PS2 games, didn't you?
Still ain't played no God of War yet. I heard that was good.
It is good. That's what they say.
All right,
that's what they say. But
they do say that this ain't the video game podcast.
Let's go ahead. What'll happen again? Let's go ahead and talk about what we are going through this week.
Which is that Fooly Cooly Progressive.
Yeah, the first 3 episodes. But first,
let's give a little recap. Yeah, let's talk about the first series.
Yeah. Which
Fooly Cooly Classic, if you will.
It was an amazing series.
It was very good. 6 episodes long.
Groundbreaking.
That's an OVA, right? You call that an OVA?
No, I would call it a full series still.
I guess.
Maybe you could probably call it whatever you want, but
Look, I don't know the terminology.
yeah.
I just know I liked it.
Yeah, it's really good. It's been played a whole lot here. It's very, very, very popular. If you have not seen it for any reason, you absolutely should because it is good.
I don't think it's like completely necessary to get what's going on. Because here's the thing: if you watch this series progressive without having seen the first Fooly Cooly,
I would say you need just a little.
well, I mean, here's what's gonna happen: is you're gonna be like, why is shit popping out of that kid's head? Why are they fighting with guitars? Why is that person glowing and flying around? And you know what? I bet if I watch the first series, I'll get some answers. No, you goddamn won't.
Not really.
No, you won't.
You'll get introduced to the characters.
You'll get introduced to one character from this show, and you might later be like, oh, that guy looks like that guy, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Like that's really it. It doesn't. There's not a whole lot of connective tissue there other than the subject matter, and it's mostly not even the subject matter. It's just like, you know, a bunch of terms and whatnot. Almost said terms and conditions. That's not right. This ain't a fucking iPhone. But let's give like a very brief recap, right?
Sure.
Like, first of all, let's talk about this because we had this discussion. Like, where was it's Studio Gynax?
Yeah.
So at the time, you were saying they were like this was them showing off.
This was a switch between the cell drawing animation, essentially where you would do a bunch of frames, you would paint them frames, you would flip them as they're being recorded, and you'd have a backdrop behind it, and that's how you made your animation. It was a very hard and time-consuming process.
This fucker's such a fan of GTO, he owns some cells from it.
I sure do. I own some of GTO. But it was a very time-consuming process, and then around 2000, the company started switching to digital animation because it was cheaper, it was much easier to do.
A lot faster, too.
Yes, and it was way faster. You could start pumping stuff out like crazy.
And this wasn't the first, but it was like one of the big, well, certainly one of the biggest ones to use that.
This might have been, I think this was Gynax's first digital.
Now we're not anime historians. Don't call us on it.
I'm close, but
feels right.
I think that's about right. If it wasn't their first, then it was their second. And essentially, this was a show of power because the animation in the original Fooly Cooly was so far above anything that had really been done at that time.
And it was still letterbox.
Yeah, and anything that was, you know, other people were doing digital stuff, but it did not look nearly as good as Fooly Cooly. Fooly Cooly still holds up to this day.
So basically what you're saying is Gynax was like, hey, y'all doing some pretty cool stuff. Check this out. Zip.
Yeah. They whipped out that big ding-dong. They pulled up their sleeve, man. They showed off them peaks. And they were jacked,
just
man.
started flexing on everybody.
They had veins the size of Pennsylvania.
Jesus Christ. Okay, that was a lot to... You went a completely different way I thought you were going to, and I'm fine with it.
But the animation is so good on the original Fooly Cooly that I would confidently say that I see anime coming out in the past couple of years that the animation isn't as good as Fooly Cooly's animation. It is
very, very smooth. It is very fun to look at.
Yep.
My whole thing with the series, my points about it were that there's a lot of stuff you'll see, like, so the whole thing's very confusing, and I think we'll like give a brief run through of like a synopsis of it, but the whole thing is like there's a lot going on, and you got to remember this is a company that did like, for example, like just a couple years, I think literally like a year before this was one of the Evangelion movies. And then a couple years before, it was like Evangelion was like 97, right?
97 or 98.
Is one of those. But yeah, this is the same company that did Neon Genesis Evangelion. Huge thing. A lot of like big themes. Just deconstructed the whole giant fighting robot thing. It certainly, for sure, Gynax's biggest, most popular, best known thing they've ever done because it's still fucking going. It was huge and massive. It had a lot of overarching themes and symbolism and whatnot. And I feel like when I watch this show, there's a lot going on, and you might be, and a lot of people have been tempted to say, well, this means that, and maybe this is that, and maybe this is what this is about. And there is some of that, but for the most part, it's just like, I feel like they basically just said, man, that was real heady. You guys want to fuck around? And then they did fuck around. Yeah. And they fucked it so right that it made like one of the best series ever.
Is that what?
They fucked it so right.
Oh my
Roger.
God, dude.
I'm going to say fuck a lot, sorry.
Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion, the original was actually 95 to 96.
95, 96. And then
Yeah.
go down. I think you might be looking at the same list I was earlier. Like, they had a movie that was like 98 or 99.
Yes, Death and Rebirth.
And then 2000 was Fooly Cooly.
Oh, okay.
So it was like,
So somewhere in there.
Look, we're not going to go through their whole fucking
Yeah.
the discography, even though that's not what it's called.
1997 was Death and Rebirth and End of Evangelion.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yeah, probably Fooly Cooly.
Fooly Cooly was 2000.
Yep.
I think it's for Down Under OVAs because I said it's probably an OVA. Motherfucker. It's almost.
Yeah, it's 2000.
Anyway.
2000. Anyway,
looking at his
the
laptop.
whole series, a lot of people debate what it's about. Go for the route of that it's a becoming of age story.
For sure.
It's it's also about, sex. A lot of sex.
I mean, it's about
Swing that bat, Tycoon.
He does. I mean, there's a lot of phallic imagery. The whole thing, like, okay, so the whole fucking show focuses on this kid named Naota who lives with his dad and grandpa, and he has an older brother who's not in the picture. It's about him, his friends, this older girl who was dating his brother, and now he's not there, so she's like basically just taking out her sexual frustrations on him by like cuddling with him by the river and shit. And then this fucking lady shows up riding a yellow scooter and beats the shit out of him a couple times. All of a sudden, he's got robots popping out of his head. He gets a robot best buddy who just lives with him and like is their maid. Then the lady moves in and she's the maid. Her name is Haruko, etc., etc. All of a sudden, he's finding out that she claims to be a fucking intergalactic alien. They don't say it in the series, but she's in the manga. Apparently, she claims to be from like the fucking Space Brotherhood or some bullshit, which is opposed to Medical Mechanica, which is some faction. We don't really know what their deal is.
Clandestine organization.
Yeah, but there's like a huge, they live in this city called Mabase, and there's a gigantic iron that is the Medical Mechanica building. It looks like a giant iron. Every day, like, steam billows out of it. It looks like it's a literal iron. And then there's another group that shows up. There's a dude named Amaro or something like that, who has these crazy eyebrows, and he works for them, and he claims to be the good guy, and he actually knows what Haruko's real deal is, and he says you can't trust her and blah blah blah. And then he apparently works for like the intergalactic fucking immigration services or something, who like has satellites and shit, and may or may not be in with the government and shit. And then the fucking robots popping out of this kid's head are doing so because of something called NO, which is some kind of energy that utilizes the energy of the left and right brain and opens a portal to other shit, and like shit just comes through it out of his head. It doesn't. If I've lost you because you haven't seen it, even if you have seen it and I've lost you, you're not alone.
Yeah.
It's wild, it's wet, it's crazy. It's not supposed to make sense. The fucking director even said, listen, understanding isn't a big thing with this show. Like, you have some fun, basically. I mean, one of the best lines in the whole thing is during like one of the next time on Fooly Cooly things. It's one of my favorite lines from anything ever. Haruko, the crazy lady, says, it takes an idiot to do something cool. That's what makes it cool. Like, I feel like that's a pretty good through line for this thing. But it gets real wild. Eventually, like all these robots coming out of this kid's head are vaguely hand shaped, and eventually, like, a giant one actually grabs that iron. And apparently, the whole what appears to be happening is that this Medical Mechanica, the way they say it is, they want to iron out the wrinkles. Like, the wrinkles in the brain is a metaphor. They just want to flatten everything so that there is no thought or no anything else. And then the whole ending of it is you find out that there's this guy called Atomisk, who might not even be a real thing. He's just the embodiment of this NO energy, which appears to come from like desire, sexual or otherwise, youthful energy, call it what you want. But he is the literal embodiment of that. And at the end of the show, Haruko ends up throwing this kid Naota into the robot, which consumes him. It turns red. When it turns red, we know that's Atomus power. That's what that is. And then the fucking
and Haruko's desperately seeking for it.
That's what you find out. That's the whole point of her being, is she's trying to get this guy. Is it because she's like actually a space police person, like she said, and she's trying to stop him? Don't find out until the very last episode. But the fucking guy with the crazy eyebrows, turns out they're not real. He's got little baby nothing eyebrows because he's not that manly. He basically says, no, I'm trying to stop. And she's like, I don't care. I know what I'm here for, and I'm gonna get it. and the fucking robot turns red, and then like something happens, and you see Naota, what appears to be Naota, but glowing red with this crazy energy, come out of this thing, and he has that power. And Haruko flips her shit and starts battling him, screaming, "No, I'm supposed to eat him. I want it. I want it." Whether or not she actually cares about this energy, this supposed consciousness or whatever, or not, she wants to have that power, clearly. And dude ends up like basically giving it up and admitting that he has feelings for Haruko at the end of it. And then a giant ass phoenix like flies out of fucking Conti and some shit, and that's Atomisk, and then it flies away. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it is crazy. Also, there are guitars everywhere.
Guitars everywhere. Everybody's got a guitar. The guitar is your bat.
And they're
it's how you,
real
it's what you
world.
used to
There are
fight.
guitars that you could.
Yeah, fucking Atomisk was like a
to
Gibson
the internet
LS
and buy,
something, something. Yeah, it's like crazy shit. It's really wild. And also the scooter that she rides on flies.
Yeah, it's a Vespa.
I mean, why the fuck
Little
not?
yellow Vespa.
It's a yellow Vespa.
And all the music in the show. There's tons and tons of music.
Now, can you imagine?
It's all done by the Pillows.
Can you just imagine, my fellow good buddies, if all my summaries were that goddamn quick?
Yeah, it'd be amazing, man.
Hey, fuck you. Anyway, but it's crazy shit. It's good shit. And
yeah,
now
it's totally worth watching. And they just got the next season out. This has been 18 years coming.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think anybody ever thought this was going to happen.
I didn't either.
Last year, a year before, they started announcing
they
it.
were talking about,
like,
hey, this thing. And I was like, but for real?
How?
I don't know, man. It's weird.
It's here, though. It's here, and we're talking about the first 3 episodes of it.
Are we starting it up?
We're going to start it up.
Episode 1.
Episode 1. Restart.
RE:*start.
Yeah, there's a colon in there.
Sure, why not? Oh, damn. All right, let's do the thing. So we start with this dream. We find out it's a dream, but we see this gray world. There's buildings that have collapsed. Everything's destroyed. And you see this girl walking through it while the amazing song plays, of course. It's called Thank You, My Twilight, which is my favorite song from this. And we didn't even mention the amazing soundtrack in that first series. It was
I did
bonkers
a little
amazing.
bit. I did say, yeah, the music.
Soundtrack was baller.
And it's all by the Pillows. And the Pillows have returned for this as well.
A lot of songs that were, I mean, that's one thing that we do need to point out is that usually when you get these, like, it's like, okay, we have the animation, and if there's like original music or something, it's like, you know, set to go with this specific animation in these shows. That's how they do these usually. This one, they took a rock band called the Pillows. They were like, hey, we like your music. We're going to make the scenes after your music. They're going to do it the other way around. And they did, and it was fucking baller. And they had so much good stuff.
Good.
So fucking
and
good.
this I think that this show doesn't I wouldn't say, to me, it's not as good as the first one, but it still doesn't disappoint.
No, I think it's decent.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see this girl walking through. She's saying some stuff like the world must be destroyed before it can be made beautiful. She's literally falling apart. She's zombified. Her hands are falling. Her hands literally fall off as she's running. She sees these giant irons in the distance mowing down everything, just flattening out the whole world, and they're coming this way, obviously. She's got these headphones on. There's a crazy huge horn that looks like the end of a sword, like a katana sticking out of her head straight into the air. Wild stuff, man. And she approaches this huge, what appears to be a huge dead thing, which I didn't catch it the first time. We'll talk about it in a second. But she approaches what appears to be a gigantic, just brown smear, and you see that it's like some kind of dead thing. And she gets close to it, and a giant eye opens up on it. And her forehead like pings, and she starts freaking out. And then she like transforms. The headphones fall off. Her horn grows out of her, and she transforms into this wild looking robot. And she attacks this robot.
Wow.
It looks really fucking cool.
It's really cool.
It flies off. It attacks those big irons, like knocks it into the air, destroys it. And then the clock, there's like a big clock that is like in the ruins or whatever, like a kind of like a clock tower looking thing. It was huge. Maybe the clock on the school probably. And it clicks to 1 o'clock, and she goes, and she wakes up in her bed. And this is where we meet Hidomi Hibajiri. It's 6 a.m. Her alarm's going off. Got to give up. She lives with her mom upstairs of Cafe Hibajiri, which is a cafe that her mom runs, and she runs it with her. And Hidomi comes downstairs. She's dressed, and she stopped by her mother, and she says, come on, you know, you got to say good morning. And she doesn't at first. And her mom, I love this one. she tells her, you know, I really love that tsundere attitude you got going on, but that was pretty good. Which, can you define that for me?
Tsundere is, it's essentially, it's like a hot and cold attitude.
Like, you're really like...
Yeah.
Like, mostly cold, it seems like.
Yeah, very standoffish, but, you know, you have the ability to do sort of more righteous things or whatever.
Yeah. Kind of like, instead of
you'll
like...
find it a lot in, like, anti-heroes and stuff like that.
As opposed to, like, a super cutesy kid that will, like, be all over you and stuff.
I don't know if it applies just to female characters alone.
I've only ever heard it applied to female characters.
Yeah, me too, but I just have always assumed that it is female. But, yeah, essentially it's hot and cold.
Gotcha.
Hot and cold characteristics.
So, Mom offers breakfast. She declines breakfast. As she's leaving, Mom stops her again. She says, "Good morning, Mommy." And then she leaves. Ha ha. As she leaves, a woman is watching her, what appears to be from the highway, through some binoculars.
And this
she is in a very fancy car, which has been identified by some people online, because I don't fucking know cars, as a Chevy Bel Air.
Yeah.
It's one of them. It looks... All I can say is it looks like something you drive around in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Like, it looks exactly
it's a Bel
like
Air,
one of those.
and you can see a guitar, as we noted from the first season. There are these guitars. She has a Fender Jazzmaster.
You got all the stuff, huh?
Yeah, man.
All right, we're doing this. But yeah, she. I do love this one. As she's walking to class, like. Every now and then, mostly only in this first episode. I don't remember seeing it in any of the other episodes. But as she's walking, she always has these big black headphones on with these light up LEDs on them, and they have little cat ears. And as she's walking, she's just like sketched out it as like a kitty. She looks like if you drew like a sheet that was like a ghost.
You ever seen Full Metal Alchemist whenever they do Ed or whatever? Or sorry, Al is trying to hide something in his big suit of armor.
Yeah, and he's just like a blob.
Yeah,
he just looks like a ghost blob.
Yep.
That's what she looks like, but with little kitty ears.
Yep.
It's adorable. I love it. But she gets to class. There's some boys in the class, and we meet the main guy of this series, perhaps, whose name is Ide. We find out it's actually Ko Ide, but no one ever calls him Ko except his mom. He's got a big bandage on his head. This is, of course, if you've seen the first series, you know that he's probably covering up some kind of crazy horn or some shit under that bandage, but maybe not. He talks about how you hear him talking about having spent the night with someone, and the other guys are like, "So you're saying that the teacher spent the night at your house? What the fuck? What?" And like, sounds like some shit from the first series. And as they mention that, you actually see a brief shot outside of a yellow Vespa parked outside the school. But they go on. He doesn't want to give any details, blah, blah, blah. He does pull out like a ticket to an art gallery. He's like, maybe I'm going to... He's trying to woo somebody. Chicks dig this kind of stuff.
Gonna woo somebody.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Why'd you do that?
Well, because I'm trying to sing over the dog barking outside.
All right, you'll be fine.
It's barking up a storm.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Bork, bork.
Borky, bork, bork. Anyway, his friends are like, "But you don't even like her." He's like, "Well, yeah, but I mean, maybe it'll deepen our relationship." They're like, "Your relationship?" Like, these two kids that are his best buddies, you find out are Mori and Marco. Goro Mori, and I don't remember Marco's first name. I don't know if it was ever mentioned. But, yeah, they're his besties. But he shuts completely up when Hidomi walks in and sits. She and him are both in the back row of the class on opposite ends of the room. Her close to the window, him close to the wall.
Marco Nagata.
Marco Nagata, that sounds right. But yeah, he ends up he doesn't want to talk about that anymore once Hibajiri shows up. The music even stops. It's a real whoa like kind of moment where he's just kind of looking at her as she sits. But the kids his friends want to hear more. He doesn't tell anymore. Instead, they start talking about fucking Maury's skirt that he's wearing, and the fact that I can see your underwear. Hey, don't be looking at my panties. Don't call them panties. It's a really great scene. I love that.
Yeah.
Bit. But
that's cool. Yeah, he's
wearing a straight up skirt, and he's like, "It's unisex." Unisex? Yeah, I mean, if you even mention gender in the fashion world, you may as well be living in the past. Like, yeah, it's fucking nuts. And everybody, every now and then they'll just be like, "Isn't that right, Marco?" Yeah, whatever. Like, he just agrees with everything.
Yeah,
I love Marco. He's adorable. He just smiles and says, "Yeah, sure." But anyway, that goes on for a little bit, and then when they talk about panties, here's one. Mori, the kid with the skirt, says something about, well, just because you get to spend all your time at Miss Shimizaki's panty buffet. I guess that's the teacher's name. Holy shit, panty buffet.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. Anyway, teacher arrives.
What would you do at a panty buffet?
I mean, I don't know. I eat at a buffet. I don't want to eat panties.
Yeah.
I feel like story over. Like, what the fuck? It's pretty funny, though.
Yeah, pretty funny.
Teacher arrives. She is a fairly normal-looking lady in, like, you know, teacher clothes. She's got these big swirly glasses, blonde hair. And, yeah, she gives a brief rant about the youth and their lack of direction. And the thing with her is that when she talks very quickly and just like this and blah-de-blah-de-blah. And she doesn't really ever stop talking or pause.
Yeah, it's the same.
She does not pause. She does not,
she does not time, too.
Yeah, she's very monotone for the whole thing. And she talks about the youth and their lack of direction, their animalistic sexual urges, she says, which I thought was pretty great word use. But yeah, she says that she's only been there a week, and I must say, in that amount of time, I've already taught you everything I know. So then she opens up her laptop and she says, "Let's get to the lesson." And the next thing, it cuts and you just hear porn sounds. Straight up porn sounds like porn. And you see her sitting at her desk, at the desk, across from Hidomi, who is just sitting there looking at a laptop, apparently watching porn.
Mm-hmm. It is never explained what the...
It is never explicitly saying it's for sure porn. It's like for sure porn. Because it just, I mean, it's all like, oh,
trying to see if...
Oh my God. Oh, teacher. Yeah. Oh, why we shouldn't be doing this. Oh, teacher. Oh, it's like, Jesus Christ.
It's like she's trying to make them overflow.
Okay, now see, this is a thing we need to talk about right now, because overflowing is a thing that keeps coming up in this show. Mm-hmm. In the first series, overflow is mentioned, I think, just the one time by Mamimi, who is the girl who
I'm gonna overflow.
It's never fully explained what that means. Maybe she's like, you know, losing control of her urges or whatever or something. Yeah. But it's not explained. It's never like, used again.
I think what it means, it's like an emotional explosion.
That makes sense to me.
Down.
No, I think that makes sense to me. But my thing is, this is one, let's just say it now, this is one problem I do kind of have with this series. Whereas if you watch the original FLCL, it feels like it was just crazy fun. Yes, there may have been some meaning here and there, and yes, it was for sure like a coming of age story and all this stuff, and the kid like coming to terms. It was a kid who like was trying so hard to be serious and an adult, and then coming to terms with, no, you're a kid, be a kid, and experience like your urges and whatnot, be they sexual or otherwise. Exactly. Like this is shit that happens. But it seems like this series, and maybe I'm off base here, it seems like they just like, well, what's some terms and shit that they used in that one? Overflow? Let's just keep saying overflow. That sounds like that's a good. That'll make them think of that. They talk about it a lot.
Yeah,
they say it a lot, like a whole lot. Like not just about, and like, so I was thinking, okay, maybe like overflowing is like a female character experiencing the shit where shit's flying out of their head or something. It's like, no, they talk about like Ide overflowing later. It's like, I don't know. It felt weird, but I'm trying to see. This is the thing. Like I've said several times, you can't pick apart Fooly Cooly because it just doesn't work like that. It's so crazy and nuts.
It's true.
And yet here I am fucking trying to pick apart.
We're doing
Progressive.
our best.
I'm picking apart Progressive like a fucking asshole. Our breast?
Yep.
All right. Anyway, yeah, she talks about the thing. But yeah, the whole time she's like making her watch probably this porn. Hidomi has no reaction, and the teacher is just like, "Wow, can you give me something at least? You don't want to wait until you're over the hill to hit adolescence, do you?" All right. Anyway, who's next? He like dismisses her, and Ide's next in line. He's like, "Me," and she's like, "Oh, I don't need to test you, Ide." Like she already fucking knows. So then later, Hidomi sits. She's outside of the outside. She sits down at her desk, and then outside the window, she sees the medical Mechanica building. Of course, one of these big ass irons. This apparently takes place in Mabase, the same city as the first series, which is kind of nuts to me because in that one, the fucking giant iron got lifted off the ground and then dropped, and it was crooked and sticking out of the ground, and now it's like back to normal. I guess they fixed it, whatever. But outside, steam is like just billowing out of the fucking building. Cut ahead. Back at the cafe, Hidomi's working tables. She's ignoring the customers. The old guys love it. There's like one goofy old guy who like is really happy to be ignored. There's a dude with an eye patch, and there's a slightly younger dude with a hat and red hair on. You come to find out all three of these guys work for the same thing later.
I love when she talks down to us.
Yeah, they love it. Bunch of, what did we say? A bunch of masochists? Is it masochist or sadist?
It would be more of a masochist, I guess.
Because they like being they
like being punished.
Sure.
Now masochism
sexy.
is a little different though. It's
what Bakugo's dad has going on.
They like pain. They like to feel pain. They like hurting themselves, injuring themselves.
I got you.
Makes them feel alive, dude.
I get you.
That's why I do it.
But yeah, she ignores these dudes, but does end up giving their stuff. Like the one guy asks for a towel, and then the scene ends with her like flinging a towel into his face. It's pretty great. Outside, she has a brief talk with Mom as she's like closing up the shop, and Mom looks up at the big iron, the big metal mechanical building, and says something like, "Man, the plant here looks just like the other one." So it sounds like they moved from somewhere else that also had one of these big irons. She says, "I wonder where he is right now." And you kind of guess she's talking about Dad. You find out later that, you know Dad's not in the picture, so maybe. Mm-hmm. But Hidomi just stands there kind of agape, like not really saying anything, and her headphones are just whirring on her ears.
Also, I do want to say that I highly recommend, once you finish the series all the way through, watch it again.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I didn't catch the first time through. We've watched it like as it was airing, and then we watched.
That's the glory about it being 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's real easy to rewatch.
Yeah.
Maybe you can watch this twice and still not hit.
It's like a movie.
There's a lot of stuff, but yeah. Mom says, "Oh, maybe we should just stop waiting. Maybe we should." And like Hidomi starts to say something, but she's caught off by an approaching car. That woman who was watching her earlier is in that fucking Chevy, in the back seat, not driving. The car's just driving itself apparently, and she just runs the fuck over Hidomi, flings into the air, spinning around, hits the ground. It's fucking brutal. And then she does a sweet ass that Akira slide. She does one of those in the car. It's fucking sick. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about, the motorcycle
I
slide.
do.
Yeah, she fucking does that in the fucking big ass Chevy. It is great. And then she gets out and she approaches. Mom's like, "Hidomi, oh my God."
This part is so great.
It's really great. And she walks over and she says, "Good thing I showed up when I did. Another moment and she could have overflowed." Like this, she's like, "What the fuck?" And
yeah, unfortunately, she's still alive.
Yeah, she looks at her and she says, and she sees that Hidomi still breathes. Like, "I was sure it was a fatal hit." "Well, unfortunately, ma'am, I'm sorry to say that your daughter will be fine." She's like, "What? That's unfortunate. What the fuck?" It was like really fucked up. Hidomi finally gets back up. Her headphones were knocked away from her. The woman, when she gets up and looks, the woman is wearing the headphones. No sound coming out of him. And Hidomi's like, "Give them back." And she looks at them before she does. And they do have on the side of them what is clearly appears to be an MM logo. We can assume Medical Mechanica. Mm-hmm. So she gives them back, and as she starts to walk away, she says, "There's no sound coming out of these. You know they don't suit you." And then she says, "You pretending that you can't hear people. That's like your thing, right?" And she says, "You know, when you hit pause on the world like that, your body will start to rot away." And she says, "Is that what you want?" And Hidomi like turns around like shocked, and she has memories of that fucking dream she has where she was a literal zombie rotting. Ooh boy. And then as she finally does go, she says, "Be careful of the woman on the Vespa," like a warning, and she drives off. And I love this part because Mom's adorable.
Yeah,
Mom's super cute, and she jumps up and she's like, "Hidomi, did you get her plates?" And she's like, doesn't say anything. She's a little cat outline again. She's like, "Don't ever grow up to be an irresponsible adult like that." And then Hidomi just says, "Who was she anyway?" "I don't know, but you gotta admit she was really cool."
Yeah.
It's like, what, she just almost
really cool.
killed your daughter, and you're fine with it? It's fucking great. I do want to point out this girl just got destroyed by a fucking car, and she's back on her feet like nothing happened. Like, holy moly, dude. This fucking show. Anyway.
About to overflow.
So back...
that leads me to believe that overflowing just isn't built around sexual tension alone. Because
maybe not. Well, it's any strong emotion.
Yeah, it was a moment where
they were talking about like
her
dad, and like obviously there's a lot to unpack there when daddy ain't around, and you're talking about any parent who's not around. Anyway, cut ahead. It's nighttime. Hidomi is watching some YouTube, Which, fun fact, if you pause it and you punch in that that URL into actual YouTube, it takes you to the first trailers for progressive and alternative.
I'm going to go to youtube.com right now.
It's not YouTube. You go to YouTube and type in the URL.
Yeah, I'm going to YouTube right now.
All right. But, yeah, pretty cool.
It's YUBE?
I don't think YouTube actually exists, dude.
We're going to it.
Okay, well, I'm saying if you
it doesn't exist.
If you do if you put in YouTube / and then the string of characters, you get to those. That's the point.
I know. Well, I was just seeing if it was another website. I was just typing in it just to see what happened.
You fucking ding dong.
It was for science, man.
Anyway, while she's watching some YouTube, she's saying to herself that she's nothing. She says, "There's nothing I want to be. Nothing at all. All there is zero." She's like, it's pretty depressing. I think it becomes pretty obvious that, like, Hidomi is depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she goes on from there and, like, she remembers that dream again. Her headphones start twirling and she stands up and, like, slams the table and she, like, stops. And then outside she hears sirens wailing from the medical mechanical building. She looks out and the fucking building is lit up. And out her window, there appears to be a camera on a tube. And she's like, what the fuck? And then a robot attacks her from outside. And it appears to be like a giant clam with like these spidery legs and these tentacles with like claws and cameras on the end of them coming off of it. Like those are its eyes and shit. And it pulls her out. If you pause it just right, you can in fact see Ide hanging off the back of it like a dingleberry.
Oh, that's pretty great.
Which is pretty great, yeah. And then it pulls her out of the window. She's she's out in the street. She is wearing like just, like shorts and a t-shirt, like she was about to go to bed, no shoes or nothing, and she like just fucking takes off. The thing chases her. At one point it stops and like bends forward and you see Ide fly off the back of it like it finally shook that dingleberry loose, and he just lands like a fucking spear in the ground in front of her, like just stiff
like a javelin.
Yeah, like a javelin. And she's like, Ide, and he's like, oh, Hidomi, and they talk for a second, and then it like boom, like hits the ground next to him and starts chasing him again, and they both take off. From the highway, maybe up above, you see Jinyu following in the car. And as she does so, she says, it's moving, but which is it? Like, she's not sure what's going on here. Like, who's it after? Is it Hidomi or Ide or whatever? They run across the bridge. I say the bridge because it appears to be the same bridge that was in that for sure, like the first episode of the original series a lot. And Ide tells Hibajiri's like, what is that? Where did it come from? He's like, oh, it came out of my head. Oh, okay, that makes sense. They end up in a junkyard. It reminds Hibajiri of her dream with the fucking thing, the zombie dream. The robot arrives again, throws Ide to the ground, just beats the shit out of him. More flashback. Her head starts glowing. Her headphones whir, and from the shadows you see what definitely appears to be Haruko watching all this. Like, she's like under some junk somewhere, and she's like, oh yeah. Suddenly, Jinyu arrives, drives off the road into the robot, fucking nails it with this car, and then revs up her guitar, because these guitars have fucking
they have ripcords on.
They have ripcords on. They look like they look like lawnmowers or chainsaws or something.
If you ever had to do a push mower or whatever,
Jesus,
and you gotta
you
ever seen that dance move?
The lawnmower. No one actually does that.
Some people do it, dude.
I mean, you do.
Really cool people do.
Fucking white people.
They get on the dance floor and they do the lawnmower, break into the sprinkler.
Foolish.
You ever done a sprinkler before? What about the electric slide?
Nah, man, I dance. We're falling apart to halftime.
What about
I got one. That was one, baby. I got one.
What about the Macarena?
I don't do the Macarena. Of course, everyone did the Macarena back in the early 90s. At least once. Anyway.
This isn't the Macarena podcast.
It's not the dance podcast. Like, why are we doing that? But yeah, she revs up her guitar, smashes the shit out of that thing, and after she does, Hidomi, like, actually, you see her just boom and calm down. Like, her headphones were glowing red, like some shit was about to go down, and she just kind of chilled out. And as she's standing there, Jinyu says, "So that's how it is, huh?" And Jinyu goes over to Ide and asks where's the woman who did this to him? Where's the woman who pulled that out of him? Like, she's looking for Haruko, apparently. We assume Haruko, obviously. We find out for sure in a second. But she picks him up and starts to leave, and Hidomi asks her, hey, what's happening? And she doesn't answer. Jinyu doesn't answer, but she turns around and looks at her and says, that thing looks good on you, by the way. Like, talking about the headphones now. She's changed her mind after she saw that they appeared to be calming her down, or trying to anyway.
I thought she was referring to the horn.
Maybe. Yeah, she does have a horn growing out of her.
Yeah,
now.
That's what I thought she was talking about.
It could be either way. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But they continue.
Because headphones should speak it as a plural.
Well, yeah, but she did say, what is this, earlier when she was holding the headphones. She always could refer to them as singular.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a weird one for me. But the next morning...
also, okay, so this is really random, but this is another weird thing for me.
Oh, no.
On the cafe or whatever, the little sign they have says open, and when they flip it, it says close.
Yeah.
It does not have a D. It just says close.
You call it what you want, baby.
I guess you can, but
you gotta close it up.
I couldn't stop looking at it saying
it's
close.
not like, I mean, it's, look, if we,
I get it, dude. I'm not nitpicking at that.
No, I get what you're saying.
It's just something that I noticed that I was like, whoa.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next morning, she comes back
bitch.
downstairs. Yeah, I'm the bad guy. Deal with
the bad guy.
I'm
dude.
the troll.
You're the bad guy.
She comes downstairs. She's got a band-aid on her head now, or something. Anyway, she gets downstairs. Little Busters is playing from the original soundtrack.
Yeah,
Great track.
think as far as I could hear, I think that was the only one from the original show.
In this episode?
Is there more in the other episodes?
Yeah, they play Last Dinosaur.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, for sure they do that one later. I don't remember exactly when. But yeah, next morning she comes downstairs. Mom's like really glad she's safe, but actually says, well, next time you want to run away, do it with a bang. Mom's so fucking cool. Why is Mom so goddamn cool? I love her. But in the kitchen, Hidomi sits down and like actually tries to eat some breakfast, and from the next area over, you can hear like just plates breaking.
Yeah.
And then she like gets up and looks into the kitchen, and Jinyu's there, and she's just breaking plates, and she's wearing like a straight up maid outfit, and she introduces herself, and Mom says, "Oh yeah, she decided she want to work for us to make up for hitting you with her car." It's like, okay, neat. But then at school. And here's where shit goes down. At school, Ide's friends want to know what's up with all the bandages. Dude is covered in bandages. He's all beat the hell up. And he's like, there's a lot of stuff. Just a lot. And they're like, that's not an answer. Give us an answer. But then the teacher arrives. Gives a straight up, real crazy speech that seems to whip the students into a frenzy, a cult-like frenzy. She's all of a sudden, they're all just staring at her. They all have swirly eyes. They're hypnotized. She talks about how... she talks about being like, youthful energy and being not being so serious and whatnot. And she says, who would want to fly around on a four-wheeled car that flies? That doesn't even make sense. You do not need four wheels. You only need two wheels. Like, clearly parallels between her and Jinyu she's making. And she says, the end of it, she says, it was
a really long and great rant.
It was a really long, great lap as she finally, like, you hear her, like, raising her voice in this. But while she's doing this, Hidomi's like not even paying attention. She's just looking at her phone, and it's some text chain. And someone says they start talking about FLCL. They start saying Fooly Cooly. Mm-hmm. Someone says tries to say a fresh start. They say a flesh start. Whoops, my folly. And everybody's like Fooly. It's like in the text chain when like AJ fucks up, and we all just like repeat it over and over again to fuck with him. That's the best, my favorite.
That's good wrestling, buddy.
Yeah, it's our good wrestling buddy. All right, well, now he's all the way out there.
It's good
hey,
wrestling,
AJ. But, yeah, everybody's just like making fun of this person. Fooly. I like Fooly, Fooly Cooly, FLCL. Like they just start repeating it on this text chain. As she's reading all this, the teacher is saying, be as adequate as you can. A complete mess. Born to be mild. And she rips off this mask and wig. And of course, it's Haruko. And the kids are losing their mind. Everyone's on their feet. They're screaming. They all got the swirly eyes. They're going nuts. Except for Edie and Hibajiri, who just sit there for a second and then look at each other like, you seeing this bullshit? And then as she stands there right before it goes to black and the end credits roll, she says, that's right. The real one's finally appearing. Like, you know what you're here for.
Mm-hmm.
But that's episode 1. Can we talk about the ending real quick?
I do want to say something too about Haruko's hair. It's different. It's different. Yep, that is notable. It's a minor touch, but it is notable.
Okay. So it's a little different.
Yeah, her hair is different. It's more orangey.
Let's talk about this ending though. So the ending like scene for this, I think, is the closest you're gonna get to what happened between the first series and this one.
Yeah, it's like a retelling, a small little retelling of.
Not even that though. It's not even a retelling. It's just a completely different thing.
Yeah,
because
I guess
what we see.
I meant to say. Retelling wasn't a good way to put it.
What we see is the big ass red bird, the phoenix looking thing that is Adamisk. We know that's Adamisk. We see Haruko right up in his face, reaching for his beak, and then we see his form like it's a wide shot. You just see giant bird, and it gets sucked into one point like a fucking singularity, and you see a hand grasping this energy and closing around it. And we know that's what Haruko wanted, and it looks like she got what she wanted. She has apparently found Adamisk, absorbed him, and she is glowing red with that energy. And as she like closes her fist, a bunch of like stars and sparklies fly off across the universe. We see like all these like, it looks like just a piece of a planet that's been destroyed, and we see someone standing on it looking at pictures on her phone, smoking a cigarette. It looks a lot like Mamimi.
It is.
We see another person
I'm
sitting.
fairly certain that is Mamimi, and I'm fairly certain this is Naota.
Yeah, we see someone like sitting on a big rock, like holding a base. Like it looks a lot like Naota looking up. Can't see him very well because credits are rolling and it's like tiny on the screen, but it looks like them. But then we see what appears to be Haruko with this energy glowing red, and like she has it for a second, and then she doubles over and Jinyu pops out of the back of her. Like they split. Which you get a lot of like, there's a lot of suggestions that is in fact what happened in the next, like in the third episode here. But it sure as hell looks like Haruko got what she wanted, Adamisk. Somehow she's now lost it, but in that process, Jinyu split from her. Like maybe they are two halves of a whole, or maybe they're their own people and somehow she just showed up. I mean, we know that NO can teleport things. Who's to say it didn't teleport another person? But it sure as hell looks like she split off of her.
Yep.
It's fucking nuts. And then the rest of it is just like a bunch of scenes of like, here's characters from Alternative, here's characters from the original, here's characters from Progressive. It's really cool shit.
Yeah,
it's a really great ending. It's called Spiky Seeds. It's badass. Yeah, it's really good.
I love it, dude.
I love the beginning. Doom, 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 doom. It's like fucking great. Anyway, that's the ending theme. Groovy. And now we're on to episode 2. Episode
2. Freebie Honey.
It's a fun title.
Freebie Honey, yep.
This one starts off with another one of these creepy zombie dreams. This one has a really great, weird, black and white, like grainy film look to it. It's real, it's like they just like it's a storyboard. Like there's no connecting animation between like most of the scenes. You just see like weird shit happening. This time though, there's a voiceover that instead of being all like dour and monotone, is very giddy, talking about, oh look how cute they are, all the zombies, and they're like, you see these like creatures, what appear to be zombies, just eating shit and like tearing people apart and whatnot. The two zombies you see at first definitely appear to be Mori and Marco.
But actually, I have a theory.
Oh no,
that isn't Mori. That is in fact Louis Anderson.
Son of a bitch. That's so fucked up. But
it did look like Louis Anderson.
You talking bad about Louis?
You remember Life with Louis, dude?
I do remember Life with Louis.
Okay,
I also remember seeing him on the fucking Family Feud when he hosted that.
Yeah.
I'm Louis Anderson. Why are you talking shit about Louis Anderson?
I'm not talking shit.
Funny, man. Sounds like
what
you're
I'm
talking
saying
shit.
is in Life with Louis, which Life with Louis was featured on an episode of The X-Files too, by the way.
It was an okay show. Okay, real quick, sidebar.
He has these teeth, though. These teeth that are, like, largely gapped.
They're pretty fucked up. Well, he has a gap in real life. That's what it looks like.
But they supersize it in the show.
Real quick, Life with Louie versus Bobby's World. What's your favorite?
Man, Life with Louie didn't go as long, but Bobby's World was not as fun.
I liked Bobby's World.
I liked Bobby's World, too, but I think Life with Louie had better characters.
All right.
As a kid, I haven't watched either of them.
He's like Hey Arnold's little brother. He had that big-ass football head.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the fucking, like, level, like, if it's Pokemon, level 1 is Stewie. Level, like, 15 is fucking Bobby from Bobby World. And then, like, level 30 is Hey Arnold. They all got that football head.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's true. I never thought about that.
Anyway. But, yeah, that's that's what we're seeing here is these zombies that appear to be those 2 kids from the school. Another zombie shows up, and it definitely appears to be Hidomi, rotting. You actually see her like floating in the water, and then she gets up. Meanwhile, this whole this voiceover is just still going. It's so happy, and like it's like, oh, look at them tear each other apart. It's so cute. It's like, this is fucked up. And like you get a brief shot of Hidomi laying in bed like during the dream sequence, and she just goes, and she like actually is smiling. It's like, holy shit, dude. They're tearing each other apart. There's blood and gore everywhere, and the voiceover says something like, I am devoured once again today, and I remember I am nothing forever and ever. And then you see an Ide zombie show up, and you know for sure it's an Ide zombie because it's wearing his clothes and got his glasses. And then as it looks at the remains of the Hidomi zombie, it like
it's just the horn. All that's left of her is that horn.
But as it gets closer to it, its face like actually just turns into regular ass Ide, like non-zombified. He's got skin and it's Ide, and it's really weird.
Yeah, he seems to be very distraught.
But yeah, Hidomi wakes up, big bandage on her forehead, holding something in. Downstairs at the cafe, Jinyu is getting chewed out for not stirring the stirry curry right or some shit like that. She's covered in fucking curry. You stirry at the table. Yeah. That's why it's called stirry. It's like a nice little fun thing.
Yeah, you don't get the curry
without the stirry curry. You got to stirry
you had
curry.
to stirry the curry at the table. Otherwise, it's not stirry curry.
It was very cute. But yeah, she's getting chewed out. She tries to warn Hidomi about the Vespa woman, but she gets pulled back by mom. And then Hidomi's out the door. At school, Haruko gives a very extra culty speech this time to the students. She is literally wearing like a big robe, and there's like candles and shit. And she's like, "Oh, my students, blah blah blah," and like it's really great because she says like shit, and then she's just like, "Yes," and blah blah. She's so serious and everything, and blah, and this is that, and then she just goes, boop beep beep. Like she drops in these goofy little
beep beep beep.
These nothings, and she's like poo poo poo, and all the students are like poo poo poo, and then she's like boopy poo. Boopy boo. Like it's really great. And then she's like, anyway, now I've got.
And that's the stuff that makes Fooly Cooly really great.
Yeah, that's the goofy shit they just throw in like that.
It makes
like
you smile like real big.
Okay, like that one reminded me a lot of like there's an episode, I think it's episode 3 of the original series, because I remember that shit, where shit goes down. She doesn't have her guitar with her. She grabs a ukulele from some kid, bashes a thing, the ukulele just breaks, and then she like kneels down and gives the piece of ukulele back to the kid and just goes, ukulele no good, and it's fucking hilarious, like that one goddamn line. Anyway, I'm not saying I don't bring that up to be like, oh, the good old days. I just like that's what this reminded me of, the boopy boo ukulele. Yeah, it was great. Anyway, but yeah, she then presents the students with the yearbook full of all these pictures of all these great things that they didn't actually do. None of this is real. It's all this stuff about baseball games and UFOs and the psychic they met and the big bonfire they had on top of the school.
Blowing up the school.
It was a big bonfire on top of school. Yeah, and they all sing like a campfire song, and Hidomi looks at it and she's just like, these are all crayon drawings.
Yeah, they're doodles.
She's the only one.
And they're singing the campfire song.
It's great. Not the CAMPFIRE song, but they're singing a campfire song. In the embers burn and blah, blah, blah. It's goofy shit like that. But yeah, she appears to be the only one that realizes this isn't real. Notably, Ide is not there. And they all remember it, which is interesting. Hidomi sees the crayon drawings, yeah. But as Hidomi leaves and she's walking down the hallway, Haruko approaches on her Vespa, on her scooter, in the hallway. Because, of course, yeah. It's adorable. And she wants Hidomi to take Ide's worksheet because he wasn't at school. He was absent. She's like, well, why me? She's like, why you? Because you two are close? And she's like, I don't know. She just takes it anyway. She leaves, and as she leaves, she's walking down the street, and the big ass robot that came out of Ide's head apparently and attacked them, and then Jinyu like beat the shit out of it. It's a crossing guard.
Oh,
he's like helping little kids across the street.
He's got a little flag.
He's got a little flag, and Hidomi's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, well, "It's a living."
Yeah.
Which I love. That's like that's another little thing they would like do in the older series. Like it's kind of just to remind you that, hey, this thing still exists, but also like how fun. It's a big ass robot that's working as a crossing guard. So she goes to Ide's part of town, which is real slummy. It is like...
Yeah.
Which is where... This is the point where I was like, so Ide's kind of...
It's like the stacks out there.
Ide's kind of boy Mamimi. Kinda. Because that's the thing in the first episode that Naota's dad makes a point that Mamimi's family is poor, right? And like here he is living in the slums.
You always find Mamimi under a bridge.
Yeah, and he's got an awful lot of sexual frustration. We especially find out in a second in this episode. Holy shit! But man, oh man, he's got some shit going on. But the eye patch guy from the cafe talks to her about going pro. Hey, you could be a pro, and he's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Maury and Marco show up and save her. They escort. Maury like walks her way, but then the eye patch just gets up on Marco and is like, "Hey, you got that Latin blood, right?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, you got a good fist. You thinking about going pro? You make a fine pro." And he goes, "A pro what?" Well, and I was like, I love that shit.
Let's see.
Let's see. Yeah, it's freaking great. But yeah, Maury takes her to Ide's work, and as they're walking, he says, "Are you sure you want to see what Ide's really like? And you might not like." She's like, "What are you talking about?" "Well, it's too late now." And he like takes her to this junkyard, and Ide and several other dudes are being pushed around by a literal slave driver with a whip. There's a bunch of dudes, including Ide, dragging a car along the fucking ground by ropes. And the dude is on top of the car whipping them and shit. At one point, Ide stops and stumbles and then just gets up and goes, rah, and just rips off his fucking jacket and exposing just his like undershirt underneath. And he just gets back up.
He's ripped.
Dude's got it. Maury actually makes a point that like his body is comparable and yet superior to mine. He says Maury's a goofy little chubby fat kid.
Still wearing that skirt. By the way,
still wearing that skirt. Hey, my boy's got a look.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
It's unisex.
It's unisex.
Don't look at his panties.
It's what you call non-binary. You just wear what you want.
If you put underwear in front of me, I'm going to look at them.
Don't be looking at my panties. Don't call them panties. They're briefs. That was a good scene. Anyway, yeah, he's getting whipped around. It's really wild. Maury explains that while Ide seems like a regular loser, he's like working constantly to make these ends meet, and dude is just going nuts. Yeah, he's definitely got like this engine in him that is running real hard. Afterwards, Ide is shilling. He's trying to sell what is essentially an airsoft gun, but it takes these special shoots 500 pebbles a minute or something like that. It's like 100 pebbles a second. I don't remember. It's like a machine gun airsoft gun with a big thing on the top, and it takes these exactly 5mm pebbles. Now I know what you're thinking. Where am I going to get all those pebbles? Well, let me present you the ammo creator blah blah thing. It's like a big ass engine looking thing. You dump in rocks and it spits out 5mm pebbles. It's perfect. But how am I going to carry all this around, Ide? Well, let me present you with a special pellet launcher and ammo engine dolly. And it's like, it's just a regular ass dolly.
Yeah.
Everybody's just...
Everything is invented until the dolly.
It's really great. But yeah, he ends up getting the shit kicked out of him by these fucking tough dudes, these rough guys. And yeah, he's like... Maury actually makes a point of saying, well, he's saying Yamaro. Don't they know what that means? He's speaking their language. These guys just actually speak Japanese, which I thought was interesting. I don't know how that works in the dub. I mean, they must be speaking English maybe in the subtitle. But anyway, yeah, he's like, Yamaro, Yamio. Like, it's really great. He's just getting the shit kicked out of him. But then he gets knocked down, and I'm like, this is my, oh, wow, what a cool guy moment. He looks up, and he, like, wipes his chin, like a bit of blood off his chin. He's like, no matter how many times you knock me down, I don't feel pain. And I'm like, Ide, get the fuck out of your ass. Like, it's just so goofy. However, it apparently fucking works because Hibajiri is affected by it. She pops a nosebleed. She ends up passing out. Ide notices her at this point, runs over, carries her away, and Maury's like, why's he getting all the goils? Probably because he fucking works so hard. And you see that boy's muscles? God damn.
Yeah.
At his place, Ide is helping stop her nosebleed. His mom shows up and she's like, oh, you brought over another girl. You know, back in my days, I was quite the little... And he just kicks her out immediately. Things are very awkward. She makes it very awkward. But things inside with just the two of them are fairly intimate, I would say. They are very close together. He very awkwardly tries to invite her out to the... Not just an art museum. Apparently, it's a space art museum. Doesn't really get a reaction. And it's really awkward. He's like, you know, I mean, if you want to... go out if you want to go out. Not that we're going out. I mean, it's a great way to start a relationship. Not that we're in a relationship. It's just, you know, if you wanted to go and you just pick a date. Not that it's a date. It's like, holy shit, kid. Like, Jesus. But then as he's saying this, like, you actually see from his perspective, his eyes are like drifting to her legs and whatnot. Dude's horny.
Yeah.
He's a teenager. He's horny. And she says she's sorry, and he's like, oh, it's fine. We don't have to go. And then a voice, you're supposed to think it's her, I guess, says, I guess if it was with you, Ade, I'd be fine with it. If you wanted to. And then he like hears this, looks up, jumps out of his pants and underwear, and is floating through the air about to like pounce on her when you hear Haruko scream, and cut! And like the literal word cut falls out of the sky and like slams him into the ground, which is pretty great. Haruko's hanging from the ceiling with a fucking handy cam recording everything. Just pretty horrifying. And she says, all right, well, that's enough of that. Take 5. And Hidomi's like, how long have you been here? And she goes to the next room, around to the hallway maybe, and she's acting out a love scene as the two of them. Oh, Ide. Oh, Hibachiri. Like, just back and forth. It's real nuts. Ide goes over to the door to, like, try and tell her, like, hey, what the hell? And suddenly his window flies in, smashes him, and he goes against the wall. He's down.
That damn dog.
Yeah, the dog's still barking. You'll be fine. But, yeah, he's knocked away, and Haruko walks out to see Jinyu floating on top of her car, which is now mech'd out. It's got, like, arms and legs and a head. And they... she says... Jinyu says something like, I finally found you. And then they play this great word game that was pretty great. Basically, they just, like, take the last syllable or couple syllables or whatever and take the sentence from there. I can't remember exactly how it went, but, like, at one point... she says something like, Haruko ends a sentence with cuz, and she's like, cuz you can't do this without me, or some shit like that. Roger can try to look it up. He's probably trying to look it up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's really funny shit. They just go back and forth. Eventually, Haruko ends up losing because, yeah, it's like build a sentence. They're just taking each other's syllables and going off of that. Haruko ends up losing.
Is that what you're talking about?
Not ad-libbing, not exactly. No, it's literally like, okay, so there's a game, buddy's place sometime was actually on Doug Lowe's Movies. Shout out to Doug Benson, where you take like titles of movies and you go from like one to the other. Like for example, Spider-Man, Man on Fire. So if we started with Spider-Man, you could say, oh, Spider-Man on fire, and I would say, okay, along came a Spider-Man on fire, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, like you would go like that. So that's what they're doing in the scene, right? Which is why Haruko says some really.
I don't even know where to begin to search for.
It's just a word game they're playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I could pull up the scene real quick, but I mean that's gonna take too much time. It's basically just they're taking each other's last syllable and going off from there. And Haruko ends up fucking up because Jinyu tells her at the end of it, "You need me. You're not a lone wolf." And Haruko goes, "Loners are." Ah, shit. No, I've messed up. Like, because she should have said wolf instead of lone. But yeah, it's pretty adorable. They're just going back and forth. They're really fucking with each other. But Jinyu is playing along even though she is so serious. That's the thing. So the mech grabs Hibajiri, pulls her out, and Jinyu says something like, I guess we're going to have to do this by force. And then she says, this is between you and me. You keep Hidomi out of this. And she pulls her out. Keep your hands off Hidomi. And Haruko's like, oh, but you can grab her with your big robot hand. Real fair. Haruko leashes Ide. Ide tries to jump out to get to Hidomi and like help her. And then is pulled back because Haruko has at some point slipped a leash on him. And she just has him on the end of a string now. Like literally. She throws him at Jinyu, pulls back, and ends up dragging the car closer, and then smashes it with her guitar. And then they both like fly through the air as like this red and blue like streak just bouncing off each other. It kind of looks like some Dragon Ball Z shit where like the power charge just ping 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 ping, like they're going nuts up there. Meanwhile, you smashing into each other with these guitars. Meanwhile, you get a quick wide shot where you see Ide's robot that came out of his head, now done with its job of being a crossing guard, is getting a drink with Eye Patch Guy. It's adorable. Sitting at the bar getting a drink. Yeah. Jinyu then gets a call from Hidomi's mom, who chews her out because she was supposed to like be doing her new delivery service, and she's like, oh, I'm busy right now, I'll be just a second, and she hangs up. And Jinyu drops a couple lines. At pretty much any time Jinyu talks, you're getting some decent backstory. She says, "Are you going to make the same mistake again?" At Haruko, and Haruko like doesn't even. She's just like, "Whatever, kid," and throws Ide into the air, like spins him around, throws him straight into the air, says something like, "There's the pitch," and then she slams the shit out of him with her guitar, and just he fastballs right at her.
And she has the. Damn it, the Gibson.
Oh God.
Hold on, I know the guitar.
Haruko?
Yeah, Haruko. She has part of the double neck guitar that.
Yeah, from the end of the last year.
Yeah, from the end of Naota's guitar.
Yeah.
She has the EBO. Gibson EBO. That's
Nice.
what it is.
But she smashes the shit out of this kid, and he fucking, as she hits him, you see his head immediately swell as he like bows forward, like back toward Jinyu. And you see this giant thing growing out of his head. And then back at that bar, you see a little black hole open up. Robot flies through it and then pops out of his head into Jinyu. The robot is now attacking Jinyu with Haruko, and they're just going at it. It's really nuts. Jinyu calls Haruko Raharu, which from the original series we know. That's what Amuro, the dude who claimed to know her and know what she was really about, that's what he said her real name was. I think it was Aruha Raharu, something like that.
Yeah.
Haruha Raharu, which is just a lot of Ras and Rus.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite scenes from the bloopers on that one, because it's just the dude trying to say that name over again. He's like, Haruha Raharu, Haruha Rahuru, Haruha Raharu. Is any of that good? And the dude in the booth's like, no. It's fucking amazing. But yeah, she calls her Raharu, implying that yes, she does know more about him about her than anyone else here. And she says, "You can't reach him like this." She ends up getting smashed down, thrown into like some building or whatever. She recovers shortly thereafter, but we see Hidomi like get thrown away from like the car, and Hidomi go flying away. The car like transforms. Hidomi's in the car. It's flying around without a driver. Hidomi's just in the back seat shooting missiles at fucking Haruko and shit. Jinyu shows up, jumps on the hood. She's ghost riding the whip on this one. And she says to Haruko, to Raharu, whatever you want to call her, "You can't do this alone. You can't reach him without me. You and I are one." The robot does this Ide's robot does this big ass drill attack. The car transforms back into a mech and does this big ass punch on it. They both collide and they both get wrecked, but the mech immediately like shoom and like breaks apart and then forms into these little vaguely like, they kind of look like a little like Sputnik like what do you call satellite / a syringe. I don't know, it's weird to describe. They're like a ball with like a knife on one end, kind of.
Yeah,
goofy looking. And they all those things just fly around Haruko and start shooting lasers at her and shit. And
they're like if anybody is a fan of Gundam, they're like funnels, sort of like funnels.
I don't know what that is.
It's exactly what you're looking at.
Neat. But yeah, she's knocking away all the laser beams with guitar. Jinyu falls back to Hidomi, who's still in the car. The car is reformed, apparently, at least part of it, and tells her that Haruko, I told you to stay away from her. Haruko, you have to keep away from her. Haruko will only use you. In the worst case scenario, you could die. And Hidomi remembers the zombie dream, and she's like, I die? Like, maybe that's what she wants. It's kind of fucked
I'll get
up.
eaten by Louis Anderson.
Yeah, that's what happened. And she pops a nosebleed. The huge red knife horn thing pops out of her head, and she starts levitating out of the car. The sirens start wailing, and Jinyu says something like she overcame the enzyme inhibitor, which I'm guessing is what the headphones are. And then a huge explosion happens, and there's a crater, and they're just like, what the hell? And then this goofy little tiny robot Hidomi comes out of it.
Yeah.
And it
looks like a little haunted metal doll or something.
Yeah, it looks like a real, like, just a real, like, hodgepodge thrown together robot thing. Like, it may as well have a colander for a face.
Yeah, but she's about to swing a big old punch.
Oh, she's about to fuck it up. But yeah, it's pretty adorable, and it emerges, and Haruko's intrigued. She gets down there, and she's like, well, ain't you cute? And she's checking it out, and the thing actually, like, touches her boobs, and she's like, not that cheat. It's like, okay, neat. And then, boom, another explosion right there. The robot explodes, or makes an explosion around it, I guess. Haruko goes flying, still has Ide, like, on the fucking leash carrying him, and she, like, actually lets it go here. And as she's, like, falling down, you see, like, the fucking robot start running and then just shoom, take off, like, in this huge jump with this giant right hand. And it's about to punch the shit out of Haruko. She's falling, like, they're about to, like, bisect,
she's coming up Joe style.
Yeah, they're about to bisect, like, at a 90-degree angle. Like, Haruko's going straight down, she's going straight sideways. And she gets right to her and, foomp, misses, does not hit Haruko. That punch keeps going, and then she just swings around and punches herself right in the face. And as she does, transforms back into Hidomi with, like, a huge blood shooting out of her fucking forehead because she just punched the shit out of herself. Fucking nuts. Haruko crashes. Ide falls to the earth like a fucking leaf, which is pretty cute. He's like, whoo, whoo, whoo. And Jinyu catches Hidomi, and then calls the car. She does a little, and the fucking pieces, like, reassemble back into the full car and gets over to her. It transforms into some kind of, like, medical, like, bed thingy. I don't know, like some kind of little, looks like, I don't know. But she lays Hidomi in it so she can get some rest, and, like, you know, it starts beeping like it's got her vitals and shit. And Haruko or Ide, she also gets Ide and puts him in there too, but he's, like, upside down, so, like, his feet are at her feet and whatnot. And Haruko says something like, you know, however you slice it, you know she's mine, because she just saw what Hidomi turned into, and apparently that's what she's looking for. And Ide jokes and says, as he, like, grumbles awake, like, you know, after having passed out, he says something like, you look awful, and he, like, makes some funny faces at her. And Hidomi doesn't, like, say anything or even smile. She just, like, reaches into her pocket and gives him the paper, and she says, worksheet. And then they both just laugh and chuckle together.
This is the first time you really get to see her smile.
She actually does smile and, like, laugh a little bit, and then her headphones are going, they start up again. Whew. And that was episode 2.
So she turns into, like, a mechanical doll.
It seems like it.
Because of these headphones that she's wearing from Medical Mechanica.
I don't know if it's because of the headphones, necessarily, that's what's happening. Maybe.
Well, I don't think so. I think they...
Because that was a thing in, like, the first series, like, the claim was that Conti came from Medical Mechanica. And then what he would do is, like, he would eat Naota and turn into this super powerful red version of himself. Like, he was in there powering it up. So I guess it makes sense that maybe, that's what's turning her into the robot or something. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
She only turns into the robot, that little robot thing, the one time.
Yeah, that's the only time I remember seeing
So
that.
it's confusing.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm going to have to watch it more.
Yeah, I mean, we're about to hit the last
I was just saying,
thing.
it's a mechanical robot.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to
whatever,
me.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. But yeah, we're on to episode 3.
Stone skipping, which is a great episode. I really enjoy this episode a whole lot.
There's a decent amount of exposition in here. I got some pages, dude. We're going to have to deal with it. Sorry.
Okay.
But we're back in Hidomi's dream. We see a very, very happy and alive Hidomi. And this one starts with her. She has this little line. Hang on, I wrote it down here. She says... She says, well, where'd she come from? It's me. Hidomi is right here. Like, as she falls into, like, some electrical wires, she's like, blah, blah, blah. It's really great. But she is very much alive. She's not a zombie this time. She is very much alive. She is very happy.
Yeah.
She's jumping around like, yeah, oh my God.
Springing all over the place.
And the shit she says is she's like, oh, wait a minute. Today's the day we're going to devour each other. Oh, yay. And she's like, but where am I? I'm going to get devoured by my friends. And by friends, I mean classmates who I never talked to or interacted with. But where are they? And she's all sad. She wants to be eaten. She wants to die and be devoured. And it gets weirdly sexy here where she's like touching herself and is like, oh, this layer of skin.
She starts
like groping herself as she's
she
like
starts doing like
saying
360s
this.
with her boobs.
Yeah, and she likes touching on her butt and shit. It's pretty weird. And this is a thing I want to talk about.
But did you like it?
Not really. Mostly because she was talking about being destroyed and eaten. And also she's like 12, 14.
Gotta go to the panty party. The panty buffet.
The panty buffet, absolutely not. So here's the thing I wanted to talk about, though, is I think it's fairly obvious that Homegirl is depressed.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't interact with anyone, not even her mom. She doesn't talk really unless she has to. She's very sad all the time. She keeps having these dreams about dying. She said already that she wants nothing. She is nothing. She is nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think this is what's happening is like you're meant to. I'm not a fucking doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know the works of this, but it seems to me like what's happening in here is she's going through puberty. She's having this sexual awakening at the same time that she's going through this horrible depression. And it seems to me like that's what's happening here. Like she's clearly real in that moment. She is pretty like horny about death. Am I wrong? Do you think that's like off base to say?
I'm going to tell you right now. I looked up what do dreams about death mean.
Okay, well.
And we're going to go to Psychology Today.
I mean, it could mean anything. This is dream analysis. That's not a. It's not what I'm talking about particularly. All right.
Let's see. Although such a dream may bring feelings about feelings of fear and anxiety, it's often considered a positive symbol.
Yeah, but we're not talking about dreams about dying. We're talking about dreams about her being ripped apart and torn apart, and also it's sexy to her.
Well, like it's only sexy to her this one time.
Yeah, but we saw her smiling when she was when she was having the zombie dream in the last episode. She was smiling in her bed in real life while she was being torn apart.
Oh, okay.
Like, this is a thing. Like, again, not a fucking psychologist.
I'm not going to say that it's turning her on, though.
I think it really... It is at least this one. Like, okay, so here's the thing. Is, like, for sure... Like, when you're going through those formative years, particularly when you're, like, going through puberty and shit and you're having your sexual awakening, whatever the fuck's around you is shit that's gonna, like, stick with you. Probably. Like, I've seen enough, and I'm not trying to make a joke here. I've seen enough, like, art online and also, like, know people who have done such art to know, like, okay, if you Google Christian Sonic, you're gonna get some weird shit. And a lot of it's going to be like Sonic with a big fat boner praying in front of a cross. Because this is the shit that these kids were like experiencing. Like, for example, a friend, we don't talk anymore, so I can say this without dropping names and anything, wasn't allowed to play video games unless they were super nonviolent. What's nonviolent? Fucking Sonic the Hedgehog. So he played a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog. He was in a very Christian family. This guy like ended up getting really into that shit because when he was going through puberty and experiencing a sexual awakening, that's all he had. Now, that's not everybody. I'm not saying that's everything.
So he likes furries. He's a furry.
He is specifically into Sonic with an erection in front of a cross. We're not going any further.
Wait.
This is art you can find.
Hold on.
This is not just him. This is art you can find online. This is real shit.
Sonic with an erection in front of a cross.
I'm telling you right now to like Google Sonic Christian Sonic. You're gonna find some shit. This is not the point I'm making. I don't mean to dunk on Sonic fans. Point is that like from what I've seen and experienced, the shit you're going through then at that point, like the shit you are being exposed to, kind of has a formative thing on your sexual taste and desires. I was lucky enough that all I had was my dad, and when he was like in the fucking, taking a shower, I got to sit in the computer room looking at titties. I'm not saying I got out good. I'm saying I got out less fucked up than some other people. But if that is the case, to me it makes sense that if Hibajiri is experiencing this horrible depression while she is going through this puberty and sexual awakening, that maybe that's a thing. Like, Guro's a fucking thing, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, the sex while there's blood and, like, guts everywhere. It's not so shocking that maybe that's what she ends up into. Maybe. But then, if that is the case, knowing where this series ends, it's kind of like, well, we'll get to that. I don't know for sure. I'm just saying that's a thought I had. It was weird shit. It kind of freaked me out. Anyway.
Yeah, I can't find... I found some very provocative Sonic images, but not that one in particular.
It's out there, dude. I've seen them.
Mostly it's like Amy and stuff.
I've seen a lot of fucking Sonic with a big old dick.
Little strange. It is a little strange.
We go on from here. That's a sound clip that's definitely going to be used against me someday. Me just saying I've seen Sonic with a big old dick. Thanks.
I'm trying to find it on the internet right now, so I'll be right there with you, buddy.
All right. Well, anyway, yeah, as she's having this experience, and she's like talking about how much she wants to be destroyed and pulled apart and the flesh rent from her, a legion of tiny Jinyus, adorable tiny Jinyus, fall from the sky, and they're all saying
they are
like,
really cute.
They are really cute, and they're all like, "I told you to be careful. Why didn't you listen? What are you doing? Listen, you gotta be careful. I told you to stay away." And one of them like gets on her shoulder and like points up, and she looks up just in time to see this massive ball of water as it crashes into her, and then she's floating in this water. and a big fishing line like shoots down past her and pulls up this what appears to be like a human figure, and then several more fishing lines are pulling up more people, which all go up to this giant hand that then grabs them and crushes them into these crazy swirling colors. And as she sees this, she says, "I can't take it," and her head swells up into this giant bubble. And as it approaches the surface of the water, she's like got this huge goofy smile with this big bubble head. And right when her head touches the surface of the water, it pops and she wakes up. Whew. So now we're at the beach.
I think that's enough Sonic for me today.
Yeah, you've seen a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen a good bit.
Let's go to the beach.
Now I'm educated about it.
Let's go to the beach.
We're headed to the beach.
Going to the beach.
We're headed to the beach. We're going to see a big concrete turd in this one.
Nicki Minaj. All right. At the beach, Ide and the boys are watching Haruka sunbathing, and they're like, "Oh yeah." Hidomi's over here looking fairly sullen. Everybody's like in like swim trunks and shit, except Hidomi. She's wearing like shorts and a big like like a short sleeve button down shirt. She's fairly covered up. But yeah, she's looking fairly sullen. Jinyu walks over. She's standing with her. Jinyu also in a bikini. Haruko asked, "Oh, male students, who wants to help me put on some sunscreen?" And Mori's like, "Hell yeah!" And then the other boys are like, "Hey, wait a minute. Weren't we supposed to meet your girlfriend? You said you were gonna bring your girlfriend. Where's your girlfriend, dude?" Like they're calling him out.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh yes, my girlfriend. I'll show you. Here we go. Follow me." And he like runs off into the woods nearby, and they follow her. So then Haruko's like, "Okay, well, I guess you'll have to do it, Hibajiri." And then Jinyu steps up and she's like, "I don't have a problem with you doing it either." And like, yeah. The boys, Ide and Marco, are introduced to Mori's girlfriend, I say with giant air quotes, Aiko. She's like a real...
Like a real girl.
Designed to be cutie. Like, she's super cute.
Yeah, moe. She's moe.
Very much so. She has like this long gray hair. She's got this adorable green bow on top of her head. She's wearing a very nice white dress. And then she is holding in her hands in front of her a not huge, but a decently sized potted plant, which just has these little like look like a little bean sprouts, just a little sprout going up with two leaves coming off of it. Pretty adorable. And she's incredibly shy. Nothing happens for the rest of this episode until she gets back on the train and leaves without her saying, "How embarrassing!" Like
She says how embarrassing a whole
so
lot.
Embarrassing, yeah. She's a real cutesy poot. And this is a weird one that really, I was like, what the fuck? And then later on, like, I guess there's some explanation for this. But fucking Mori says, "Isn't she adorable? She doesn't drink or swear or sweat. Can you believe it? This hot, no sweat." I'm like, what the fuck? She really is like the fucking... I gotta pick my words carefully because I'm gonna piss off someone. She really is like the goofy otaku dude's like fucking dream.
Yeah.
Like she's, oh, look how cute she is.
I don't think you're going to piss anybody off
She's
with that.
very, well, I almost said some other stuff.
Weeb?
No. About people we know in real life. Anyway. Yeah.
You have to tell me after.
Yeah, she's like super cutesy poot. She is apparently very like just super shy, down for like whatever he is, and also she doesn't sweat. Like, holy shit, what a fucking modifier to put on there. That makes some sense later, I guess. It's weird. Anyway, the boys are suspicious, but they go with it. They ask what's up with the plant, or how they meet, and she's like, "Oh, he was just so cute." And they're like, "Well, what's with the plant?" "It's an emotional support plant." And he's like, "Isn't that adorable?" Back at the actual beach, Jinyu is oiling up Haruko, and she actually just drops tanning oil on her. She's like, "Oh, wait, this is tanning oil." Haruko got all freaked out because it was so oily. Not sunscreen, tanning oil. She gets up. She's got a ping, like, sparkle on her. She's looking gold.
Yeah, she's bronzed.
She's bronzed and golden. But yeah, Haruko, they talk for a little bit, and Jinyu brings up how Haruko's been stalking her and Hibajiri for the last 3 months. So we know this is 3 months after the last episode, it seems. And she, again, every time Jinyu talks, you get some more backstory. She says, "Listen, you already got what you wanted once. It's time to give up." And to me, that obviously is an allusion to the ending like theme where we see like Haruko getting Atomisk and whatnot. And then Haruko says, well, I need to fulfill my wish in order to fulfill my... And she is cut off when she is smashed in the face by a fucking volleyball, which apparently was spiked by Aiko into Haruko's face and leaves her with like a nice little like sunken butthole face. And Aiko, of course, screams, how embarrassing! Like, it's great. Haruko spikes it right the fuck back. It's a big ass meteor, like just smashes. There's sand everywhere. She fucking demolishes it. And then Hidomi and Jinyu talk for a bit while Haruko is just demolishing these children. And Hidomi asks Jinyu, what does that woman want? And Jinyu says, well, she's the same as me. And then Hidomi says, well, what do you want? She says, what is it that you want? And Jinyu gives the breakdown. She says, I was with someone amazing. He was big, strong. He was just amazing.
Giant wiener.
The biggest PP. And she says, with him, one could fly around space forever. But he left. He abandoned me. In the end, I just wasn't his equal. I guess I wasn't enough for him. Not by myself. And then she says, she looks at Hidomi and she says, what is it that you want? And Hidomi just, I don't think she actually answers, but you hear, or maybe she does, but she just says nothing. She doesn't want anything. But right then, like, Haruko this whole time has been spiking balls at the kids and like just laughing at them when they can't return them. Ide is the only one who manages to like stop the spike. He finally does it right then. And it's kind of like, what do you want, Hidomi? Nothing. Bam, look at Ide looking cool. And she's like, whoa. Okay. Maybe. But the kids from there, they keep partying it up. They're smashing fucking watermelons and shit. I don't really get the watermelon smash.
I don't know. I don't know what.
He like smashes a watermelon. He's got a blindfold. He hits it with a big stick, and then I guess you hit it with a stick, and then you pick it apart. Get a knife. Just cut it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
Listen,
that's some sort of tradition.
I've had this discussion with you. As the old guy on YouTube told me, one watermelon serving is 1/2 watermelon. You dig out some little holes in it with your spoon. You eat that. Drop in some marshmallows and peanut butter. Delicious.
No.
I've done it. It's not bad. That's the thing. It's not bad. It sounds weird, but it's not bad. Marshmallow's a little too sweet. They're like basically pure sugar. Peanut butter gives you a nice little savory bit, and it's not all sticky because you got the watermelon juice. Look, I'm talking about watermelon. This is not the watermelon podcast. All right.
So it's called Suikawari.
All right.
The rules are similar to Pinata. Watermelon is laid out, and participants one by one attempt to smash it open. Each is blindfolded, spun around 3 times, and handed a wooden stick or a bucking.
A test of skill.
Yeah, to strike with.
With a non-moving watermelon.
The first to crack the watermelon open wins.
Well, Ide won. Of course he did. He's the cool one. He's like
he's also
like
jacked.
Yeah, he's super jacked. He's also like, he looks like your stereotypical like, I'm just an average dude, like nerd character. Like he would be the fucking Kata in this show if it was gamers.
Yeah.
But he also like fucking nails it consistently when he's not getting hit by guitars and thrown around like a goddamn ragdoll. Such a nice boy. But yeah.
Such a good boy. He's a good boy.
Roger, where is your boy tonight?
I hope he is a gentleman. And maybe you won't.
I can't believe that like this is the episode we keep bringing up like
last
shit.
Good thing about
That's enough.
This part
Enough. We're gonna get content ID'd. You're singing it too good, man.
I'm singing it too good, dude.
You're singing it too good. They're gonna be like, that was Patrick Stump if I've ever heard him.
I sound just like that dude from Panic at the Disco.
Nope, wrong guy, wrong band. Yeah, you just fucking with me. Listen, we all made it through high school. I don't need you talking shit, all right? But
hey, dude, we're all going down.
In an earlier round. Damn it, I was gonna drop that one in this episode and you fucked me up. You suck.
Really
you
fucked
suck,
the dog on that one, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
sorry.
Later on when like the big ass thing is crown was like, and they're going down in an earlier round. Like, yeah, I can't do it now. You fucked me. I gotta think of a different thing.
Maybe you can.
I gotta think of a different thing now. You suck. Anyway. They keep partying. Haruko and Jinyu seem to be pretty cordial. They're actually talking to each other now. Jinyu's laying out while Haruko buries her in a fun time treat. She's burying her in the sand. And Jinyu, she drops a couple lines here. She says something like, it still doesn't mean you can have Hidomi. There's no point in fighting anymore. And she also mentions brainwashing suppression mechanism. They took extra measures. I don't know exactly what that line's about. Maybe it's like Haruko's trying to Like with like how she couldn't affect Hidomi with like she hypnotized all the other kids, but not her or Ide. Maybe that's within it. I don't know. Or maybe she's trying to use. I don't know. It's fucking weird. It's just a weird line that they threw in there, and I don't know what it means in words. Haruko has Jinyu then encased in cement, and she looks like a big gray poop.
Yep.
She looks like a big gray cigar
turd.
with like a face hole that her face is sticking out.
You guys gotta let us know. Do you think it looks like a turd or a cigar?
I mean both. That's the joke. It's a big gray turd or cigar. Or a doobie.
Oh, man. It's sick, dude.
Gotta light it up.
Yeah, dude.
Roll it up a 6 spliff. Can you tell? Can you guys?
Weed mile, dude.
Can you guys tell I don't smoke weed?
I do believe that I would like to smoke the doobie.
Hey, you look like you should get me some marijuana.
I just had one whole bowl.
I'll take one weed, please. All right.
One whole bowl.
Anyway, I like my alcohols. I can't fuck with the Mary Janes. I told you the one time I did, and I freaked out real bad. I can't.
You wanted somebody to punch you in the face and knock you out?
I did ask someone to knock me out because I didn't want to take that ride. I was told it's just a roller coaster. Enjoy the ride. All right. This is not the Brandon's Embarrassing Weed Stories podcast, although we could do that.
We could. I even have an embarrassing story.
But yeah, I definitely need to hear about that later. But Jinyu is encased in cement. Aiko and Hidomi talk for a little bit about swimsuits. Aiko's like, what, are you not going swimming? She's like, well, no, I'm not. I don't want to. It's like, why aren't you out there swimming? She's like, and Aiko just says, well, that's not what we agreed to this time. Little tiny foreshadowing there. Tide comes in. Jinyu is definitely going to drown because she can't move and she's just being covered by water now. Boys are skipping rocks. Mori makes a big deal about, did you see how awesome I was? And fucking Aiko's just like, yeah, whatever. Ide realizes that Hibajiri isn't around at this moment. The boys look around. They can't find her or Haruko. They're like, what the hell happened? They don't know. Ide runs off to make another sweep. And Aiko says, hey, it's time I need to go. And he's like, oh, yeah, let's go. And he walks to the train station. Marco looks kind of, and apparently follows them. Because the next scene is Aiko at the station. She has dropped her cutesy poots attitude and is talking like in a regular, slightly deeper voice. And she's like, did you like the character I made up? Just, come on, pay up. And you know I'm charging you overtime for this. And he's like, okay. And he pays her for the date. She's running a rent-a-date. She does give him the potted plant and says that it's so that it looks like he just bought that from her. She doesn't want anyone realizing that she's running a rent-a-date. It looks kind of weird if someone just gives you an envelope full of money. Uh-huh. But then the train leaves with her on it, and Mori hears something behind him, and he turns to see Marco looking over the railing of the little train stop.
He's peeping, man. He's a creepy peeper.
He saw it all. I think Marco's my favorite of the three of them.
Yeah.
He's just such a nice. He's just really chill.
Such a nice boy.
He's really chill. And then later he gets a little part-time job. He's just having fun.
And then when you can't find him, you have to ask, where's your boy tonight?
I do hope he's a gentleman.
Why
is it? It's only that one. Like that's the only one you know, huh?
Maybe.
All right.
He does seem like a gentleman, though. I know that other really popular one.
What's that? Dance Dance?
The one that I just sang.
The Sugar We're Going Down. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is not the Fall Out Boy podcast. I will do one of those with you, and you will hate it.
I absolutely have no interest in doing that.
Yeah, of course not.
If we do, we're leaving the AC on.
Jesus. But yeah, Marco followed. He saw everything. Ide is still looking. He hears Jinyu's voice as he's running along the beach. Jinyu, he doesn't see her, but he hears her voice. And Jinyu talks about, did you ever try to draw fireworks after you saw them as a kid? And the only way you could really do it, it didn't work. You had to color the paper all black with your pencil. And she says they were so beautiful, those beautiful spots of light in the darkness and blah, blah, blah. It's a really neat little scene that little speech she gives that comes back later. But Ide takes off again, still looking for Hidomi. A wave rolls away, exposing Jinyu underneath it, and she just kind of goes getting her face dry. It's pretty funny. And as she's laying there, she sees a shooting star, and she says, oh, the first star. Don't know if that means anything, but yeah, she did see a shooting star. Can you ride on shooting star?
Can you?
All right. Ide... That was great. Ide finds his way to an old medical mechanical building. It is covered in moss and lichen and shit and vines. It's just all green. They're in the woods, and inside he hears what sounds like Hidomi and Haruko, and it sounds like Haruko's getting a little forceful, a little too close. And you hear, especially if you have the subtitles on like me, she says, "Is it here?" And Hidomi's just like, "No, stop, no." And then we cut back to Mori and Marco on the beach. Mori's like, "Go ahead and laugh at me," and Marco's like, and he's like, "Stop laughing, I wasn't serious." It's like really great. Then we cut right the fuck back to Haruko and Hidomi. Haruko is in her her nurse outfit, like she was in series 1. I think that was first episode.
Got her hair pulled back in a nice long ponytail,
just like before, and she is getting pretty handsy. She actually pulls off the shirt and the shorts that Hidomi's wearing, exposing her. She is in fact wearing a swimsuit underneath. She is like, just straight up half naked now, wearing a swimsuit of course, but still half naked. And she says, "Come on, help me out here. Where do I hit you to make you overflow?" And then Ide finally enters, sees this.
He busts right through the door, which leads me to the question.
He walked right through the door.
I don't know that one.
Walked right through. That's Jane's Addiction, I think.
Okay.
Isn't it? That
yeah, maybe.
Got stealing.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
When I was fat. All right.
But it leads me to a question that, haven't these people ever heard of closing the goddamn door?
I knew it. I fucking knew it. I knew it, you son of a bitch.
I got you chicken fuckers good.
You're the fucking worst. I was gonna make a reference to Haruko Wants Adamus because if it feels good, tastes good, it must be mine. But that's a newer one that no one's gonna recognize. Good song though. That's the one I told you to look up. I mean, I know you're never going to, but if you were going to, listen. I'm obviously like fucking punk pop emo trash.
Yeah,
we've been there. High school was hard for everybody. All right, I'm just gonna keep saying it. But yeah. Ide rushes in, sees this swimsuit, and he overflows, apparently, I guess is what we're calling it. And a fucking weird-ass green amorphous blob thing pops out of him.
Yeah.
And it just pops up and sitting there. It's got like a couple little mechanical parts.
The formations of these two are...
I don't really get this
really
one.
Weird.
I don't really get this guy. He's always like robots and shit, but this guy's like a big green booger boy. But he... it pops out of him, and then he's immediately just like, "All right, well, I don't know what you are, but help Hibajiri," and he orders it to go save her, which, like, that's never a thing that happens before. Whatever. I mean, this show's taking liberties. It's fine. You can't pick it apart. I'm trying to pick it apart and being an asshole. Anyway, it moves forward. Haruko revs up her guitar, and then we cut back to the beach. Marco is crying now, saying it was just so painful. And from there, we get a brief scene of Aiko getting home after having got off the train, obviously. And there's a dude with a red hat and red hair who's kind of a weird looking dude. He was actually in the cafe earlier, like we said, with Eye Patch and that other guy. And he says, as she walks in, he leans out the doorway and says, "Hey, Aiko, yeah. Do you know where the flower pot that was in here went?" And she's just like, "No clue." Just feigns ignorance. And he sits back down in the room and then closes the door, and the room transforms and a huge series of screens pop up, and on them is the Eye Patch guy. And he said, and Eye Patch guy is like, this is codename Eye Patch, report. And he's like, "We've got a slight problem here. I can't locate the flower pot." And that's the scene. I mean, we get a little bit more from them later, but like you don't really know what the fuck is happening here. On the beach, Mori is just in total frustration, just picks up that stick that Ide busted open the watermelon with and says, "Well, goddamn it," or some shit like that. He doesn't say, "Oh, goddamn it," but he screams and he hits this flower pot in frustration. It just launches it right into the air. Like, my dude, he could have been like a fucking pro. Like Eye Patch was saying, he could go pro, man. He could be playing baseball or something because he knocks the shit out of this fucking flower plant. At this point, Haruko exits, pursued by Blob. She explodes through the roof of the medical mechanical building, pursued by that blob thing. And she flings... she's still carrying Hidomi with her, and she flings her aside, Hidomi, and wails on this thing with her fucking... guitar a few times, finally knocking it and Ide, who is hanging on to it, attached to it, it seems, toward Hidomi, who is flying through the air at the same time. And they're flying toward each other, and it looks like they're going to kiss, but instead her face like lands right in his chest, and she blushes real hard, and her headphones whir like crazy, and a big light flashes around her, knocking Ide and the goo thing away. And a huge like cloud blob, black blob thing comes out of her, and she is pulled up into it. And this one's a real weird one.
Yeah,
it looks like a giant fetus.
Yeah, it looks like a fetus. And
it even has like a cable from it going straight into the ocean.
Just made of junk. That's what led me to believe that maybe oh dang, what is his name? The main male character. I just lost his name.
Ide?
Ide, yes. Ide, his might be like a placenta or something like that.
Maybe? Yeah, maybe. I didn't even think of that. That's weird. Ugh. A fucking image.
You know, people eat that shit, dude.
I mean, so that's... Yeah, I don't... Anyway.
You eat the placenta, dude?
No, of course not.
You gonna do that?
Can you... No.
It's a miracle of birth, baby.
Anyway, you're being weird. But yeah, this giant thing pops out of her. This big black blob. She's pulled up into it. It sucks in a bunch of debris from around them, even the whole entire medical mechanical building, and it creates this vaguely fetus-like formation with a big red spot on it, like maybe where its eye would be. It's pretty freaky deaky looking. The potted plant then flies through the air because it was just hit by fucking Mori and nails Ide right in his stupid face, knocking him groundward, and he is caught by Jinyu's car. She is in the car. She is laying in the back seat because she's still a big cement turd. And she can't actually move. And she says to him, "You're the only one who can save Hidomi." And this is where Ide, wow, dude, I guess you finally get it. He says, "Yeah, Hidomi's in that thing. That's not normal, right?" No, Ide. No, it's not normal. He's like, "There's been a lot of not normal stuff happening lately." You fucking think, bud? Like, holy shit. This goddamn kid, he's a real rocket science. She tells him, and then Jinyu, as she like breaks out of her fucking... Well, she breaks her arms and legs out of this cocoon thing that she's stuck in, and then stands there like with the rest of it still around her with her arms crossed, looking pretty badass, but real fucking goofy, like a big cement banana man.
Yeah. She looks very similar to the banana man at this point.
She says, "If you can't draw the fireworks, then you may as well just shoot one." And then she says, "Or maybe you should be one." And as she breaks out of this thing, she throws her guitar to Ide.
Now, fireworks also have a very sexual meaning about using that
because they're dick shaped.
No, it's like, like whenever...
Because you launch them and then they blow up.
When people go all the way or whatever, they say the fireworks are going off.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I'm bringing in.
All right.
It's fireworks. Did any fireworks happen?
Sometimes a firework's a firework, bud.
Baby, you're a firework.
Go and show them what you're worth. I hate that fucking song because it sounds exactly like...
I didn't even know if that was the song you were singing. But
it wasn't. It wasn't. No,
okay.
You just said that.
I just took a chance.
I hate that song because there's a bit of it that sounds exactly like the Erasure song, Always. Because that song says, "Hold on to the night, there will be no pain." And then fucking Katy Perry's like, "Just own the sky like the 4th of July." And I'm like, bitch, you just ripped off Erasure. I don't give a shit. I guess called Katy Perry a bitch. I'm sorry. That's very rude. Shit bums me out though.
Katy Perry is a bitch.
It's not. I'm just constantly like I hear songs and I'm like, that sounds exactly like this thing.
Like fireworks.
Baby, all right. That's gonna be a spike on the
Anyway,
audio.
what I'm saying is
back to the shits. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, she throws Ide her fucking guitar. Haruko is riding Ide's
jazz
blob now.
master.
Is that what that is?
Smooth jazz.
Haruko is riding Ide's blob now, like a fucking sky placenta.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she and the car are racing toward Hidomi's fetus. Which is a fun sentence to say. And they're like launching attacks at each other and whatnot. Ide ends up knocked into the air, and as he's flying through the air toward this thing, he has the guitar and he swings it overhand and like bam, like nails it with the guitar as he lands on it. And it like opens up a little bit, and you see Hidomi like there, and he's trying to wake her up. He's like, Hidomi, and nothing's happening. She's not responding, and Haruko lands behind him, apparently having like bested Jinyu in her car, and Haruko says something about how she doesn't have enough, huh? And she like takes a second to figure the word out, but she says tsundere, right? That's her type, right? And that's her type, am I right? And
yeah, she's like tundra.
Yeah, she's kind of talking shit, and then Ide's like Ide tells her to stop, like he's like being real serious because she's not responding. He's afraid she might be actually hurt, and she tries to he like when he says that, he's looking angry, and he like kind of grabs her shoulder, like grips it, and she actually goes like she responds a little bit, and he's like Hidomi, like trying to wake her up, and she says, oh, I mean, I know how to fix this, and she like starts to like fucking nail her with the guitar, and fucking Ide just jumps in front and stops her and won't let it happen, and Haruko tells him, all right, well, maybe you should I mean, your voice can't reach her, why don't you take off her headphones and she'll be able to hear you, right? Makes sense. And Jinyu, flying by as her car is like going down, it's like billowing smoke now, tells him, no, don't do it, don't try to take him off. But he does. He grabs him and he tries to pull him off, and there's a series of things that happens. They whir really fast, they clinch onto her head. You see a brief image of what appears to be like a lock, like a crazy looking lock, like it looks like the same material the headphones are made of, with a little kitty symbol on it going chink and locking. And her fucking, you see then a brief shot of a like an x-ray of Hidomi's head, and the headphones, like these fucking spikes go into her ears, like to the point that they're sticking like behind her eyes, like they just drilled into her head, and they ain't coming off.
Yeah,
just pretty fucked up. But also she got hit by a car and like real hard, and she was fine.
She's good. She's good.
She'll be fine. She's like some kind of crazy robot person. We saw her turn into a robot. What the fuck is this show? But yeah, crazy shit. A big lockup. They drill on, and they won't come off. The structure starts to crumble. They're going down an earlier round. I worked it in. And Jinyu, as they're all falling, Haruko's just straight up falling. Everyone's just straight up falling. Jinyu apparently has the car working again and manages to catch the two kids. And as they land, Ide tries to wake up Hibajiri, but it's still not working. She's still not waking up. And Jinyu says the emergency system has been activated. And Haruko says something like, they're so sneaky, those bastards. And Hidomi finally stirs a little bit, and she says the line from the beginning of the thing where she was like all happy, crazy Hidomi in her dream. She says, well, where'd she come from? It's me. Hidomi is right here. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then Haruko and Jinyu appear to have a plan. They discuss it briefly, and Haruko says something like, well, I guess I'll just have to take it to them then. There's no way for them to like get these things off without apparently shutting them down at the source. And we know they're medical mechanica. And Jinyu says, our objectives may be different, but our target is the same. And fucking Haruko just says, yep, medical mechanica. And they're about to team up and fuck some shit up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of that one. That's the end of our little recap bit here. So what do you feel so far, man?
We didn't go too much into the musical scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
But I've said this before. I really, really wish that they
would turn it up.
They had the music louder, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think you could still hear the talking and stuff like that. In the first season, they have no problem doing it. Now, granted, they were probably exploring a little more with it. Yeah. And they might think this is a more refined way. I think it's good. I think it could be better if it was just a tidge louder. I think
it works fine. Like, I can hear what they're saying. I can hear the music. I think it's okay.
I can hear it.
The only specific parts I remember in the old series where the music got really louder bits where there wasn't any talking is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but there's also like some super action scenes in this one.
Well, yeah.
Just like the first one. The first one, whenever the music really kicked in, was for the action.
Sure.
And there's a lot of action, and the music is just very quietly behind it.
I get what you're saying, man. That makes a lot of sense.
But overall, man, I enjoyed the series. I'm ready to go over the next 3 episodes.
Yeah,
which
I'm
we're gonna do
really
next week, which is 4, 5, and 6.
just talking about these two characters. I'm really like Jinyu and Haruko. I'm really into their whole like mechanic, their dichotomy and whatnot, because they are like if we believe that Jinyu said that like you're a part of me or I'm a part of you, like we're the same person. Like all that shit that as it shows in like the outro that they did in fact she split from Haruko. It's pretty interesting because like they really are just the polar opposite, even though they apparently have similar goals. They both want to get back to Atomisk to get with him, to be with Atomisk or whatever, because he's like powerful and all that crazy shit. But like, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like whereas Jinyu is obviously like very stoic. Another way to say that is boring. Or she's very responsible. Another way to say that is hard-assed. That you've got Haruko, who is very carefree. Another way to say that is reckless. She is very wild and fun. Another way to say that is actually crazy. So I really love like the way that they play off of each other. And this next episode 4 that we're going to talk about next week, gives us a pretty great series of scenes with them.
Yep, it absolutely does. But going into this series, I think the whole world was skeptical.
After these 3 episodes, I was pretty into it.
Yeah, it's working for me. I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
I mean, obviously, once we finish up the next 3 episodes, we're going to get into our whole, our actual feelings about the whole thing as a whole. But, yeah, I really do. I like it. I don't know. It feels weird to me, but I do like it. Nothing wrong with it.
No,
good stuff.
No, it's good. I don't think it's going to be hard to ever touch what you feel about.
No, I said before, like when they said that, hey, we're gonna do another series or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna watch the fuck out of that. I'm gonna love it. It's not gonna be as good. I will be disappointed if I think that, but I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's gonna be impossible, I think, for a lot of people to take those nostalgic goggles off. Like
I always like. I feel like I'm being an asshole, but like being so hard on this and like actually trying to tear it apart and like, talk about like the details of it when like I've already said it's so like you can't do that with the original. Like if you try to do that, you're dumb because like it just doesn't work like that. It's got to be fun and crazy and carefree. Like I want this one to be that, but at the same time, there's like so much about it that I just doesn't really work for me. I don't know, but we'll get to that in the next episode.
Yeah, we'll get through it. Let's go ahead and head over to a question. We got
some questions. We got a question
from a caller. One caller. It's from our good buddy Ellison.
Oh shit, my boy Tukey.
Yeah, man, he hasn't asked in a while, so I'm glad to hear from him.
He gave me so much shit at work. I told you about that.
And you deserved it.
He walked up and was like calling me the Weeb Master General and shit.
You are.
No.
You are, dude, and it's okay. We accept you for it.
Anyway.
You're the weebiest member of this podcast.
Absolutely not. Completely false. You have a fucking Asuka throw blanket, which for the first several years, not the first several years, for a good chunk of your life that I knew you hung above your bed so that you could lay on your back and look at it. Like, what the fuck?
I don't recall that, dude.
You said on this podcast it was above your bed, like, hanging
Maybe
above
it was up there so my girlfriend could look at it. Did you ever think about that?
In your fucking single bed that no one else sat in, like laid in or whatever. Like, come on.
You know I didn't have a single bed. You
had like a queen there.
You know that I can't fit on a twin. I'm too long.
You are a large man. Love you, buddy. All right, what's the question? I've took away from Tookie's time for too long. Give it to me.
He asks, what do you think of the shallow focus on the characters in exchange for more depth in the overarching narrative from the original show? So essentially,
we're talking about like FLCL versus Progressive, obviously.
Yes, yeah, versus that, because Progressive definitely has none of the characters are fleshed out like Naoto was.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The only one that is Haruka, and she's already been fleshed out.
Yeah, it's hard for me to talk about this without getting like my problems with the series as a whole, which I wanted to say for next week. But the short version is, for me, who was the main character of FLCL, the first series?
Naoto.
It was Naoto. It was undoubtedly Naoto. He was the main guy. There were all these other supporting characters, his dad, Kanti, his schoolmates, Haruko being obviously the most chief among them. But the show was about Naoto. One of my big problems here is that from these first 3 episodes, you would say Hidomi.
Yeah.
These next 3, it's absolutely Haruko.
Yeah.
It's undoubtedly the Haruko show, which is not bad necessarily.
Yeah, no, that's
it's
true.
It's just that it follows a lot of the same beats as the original one, to the point that, I mean, the final episode is, the last like 10 minutes or so is like damn near word for word, you know, with a few pretty glaring exceptions, but shit happens. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I think for me, that's one of my biggest issues, that they didn't, instead of like giving you like a deep dive into one character, they kind of split it among a bunch of them, which again is not a bad thing. And I think that's something I want to talk about. Like, okay, let's just bring this up now. When we first started talking about, before we either of us even watched the fucking show, we were talking about, it's Fooly Cooly. This is Fooly Cooly Progressive. And then later we're getting Fooly Cooly Alternative, I think in October, right? And I was like, we were both like, what's the progressive alternative thing about? And I was like, well, I figured, my first thought was that it was like different types of music, since music is such a big part of this, what with the guitars and the, you know, the rebellion of it and the rock shit and all the great soundtrack, that it was like progressive rock and alternative rock. If I accept that it is progressive rock is mostly defined by like using classical rock like influence and shit and switching it up, but it all has like that same root. Whereas alternative rock tends to be like a complete rejection of that. It's totally new
changes.
shit.
Like
changes, but it still has the same classical roots. It's like the same basic, you know, fundamentals, but like you fuck with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Which to me, if I'm accepting that, then if Fooly Cooly is the Coca-Cola classic and this is progressive, it makes sense to me that it does like hit a lot of the same beats, but in very different ways.
Yeah.
Whether it's necessarily better
so you're
or
saying
worse.
It's vanilla Coke.
No, I'm saying it's Coke with lime. Now.
Oh man, that is a good fucking Coke, man.
Now, in a minute, I'm with that in mind, I'm really hoping that alternative just dumps some vodka in that bitch.
It's Coke with vanilla.
No, it's not Coke at all.
I love vanilla Coke.
It's a fucking Cherry Dr. Pepper is what I'm hoping
Cherry
for.
vanilla Dr. Pepper?
Yes. That's what I'm looking for with alternative. I want it to just fuck me up all the way.
Yeah.
And I'm already looking to the future and already saying what I feel about this show as a whole. But that's where I'm at, kind of. If that is what they're going for with progressive alternative, it makes sense to me if that's the case.
Yeah. Okay.
I really want... if that is true... Man, I can't wait for alternative.
I think you're thinking a little too hard into it.
I think I might be as well.
I think to my answer for our good buddy Tookie's question is that
Tookie.
I quite enjoyed the way they did the original series.
Yeah,
I like that they focused on the characters, on Naota, on Haruko, on Momimi. A little more, you know, there were side characters, but your main like squeeze characters there, they were. I really liked them fleshed out. I really liked those characters. And this one, you have Haruko, who I really like, but it's not. I don't like her because of this series. I like her because of the last series.
Yeah, it feels different.
And I like how the first series was a chaotic mess almost. I like that. I like that, you know, you really, really have to work. This is like Zelda timeline here. You really have to stretch to put a story to it. There is a story there, but to put all the pieces together, man, it's up for interpretation.
Yeah, for sure.
I think and this one has more of those pieces. Sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off. You're good. This one has more of those pieces that fall into place. It's like you're finding like a jigsaw puzzle. It's all scattered about. You're starting in the original Fooly Cooly, you're going with middle pieces. This one it's the same puzzle, but you're working in a line on the bottom or something. So it's a little easier to put together. Is what I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that I know that analogy probably isn't great.
That makes sense to me.
But I like both of them, but I do prefer the more character driven thing in the first series.
I think one thing I was just thinking about.
I don't hate the way they're doing progressive.
No, me neither. I think it's a fine show. I think that the fact that you are naturally going to hold it up to the previous series makes it really difficult. Yeah, you have to, because you don't really have a choice. That's what's happening here. But it kind of. You want to say it's unfair to compare to that, but you have to. That's what it is. It's season 2, basically. I think one thing that I was just thinking of that really bums me out, kind of, is that like I said, I really enjoy like the dichotomy of Jinyu and Haruko, but the fact that they put in another person who is essentially on Haruko's level of like, you know, power level and whatnot, and we see them do battle quite a few times. The fact that they did that, like, you have to have her be a foil to Haruko. Like, it kind of makes Haruko a villain. Because it's hard to look at this and say she's a hero with all like how she's like taking advantage of these kids and whatnot. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Particularly that one scene where like she literally had fucking Hidomi strapped down to a table and was undressing her and like, oh, what do I got to do to make you go crazy? Like, what the fuck? That was like weird. I know like maybe I feel like that like the direction I was going with that is how you're supposed to feel about it, because holy shit, she literally has her strapped on a table.
Yeah.
But like
to be fair in this one too, you now know for sure with 100% certainty that she is after Adamisk.
Well, yeah.
She wants him.
But like that was like that's the thing about the first series, it was enough for her to be like kind of a crazy person who like not I keep saying crazy person, but kind of a wild character who like is there to fix the shit when it goes wrong, mm-hmm. like, and as it invariably does when like the robots pop out of someone's head, like she's the one who takes care of it and handles it, and then later Conti does as well. But like she's always there, like she is the like she's the white rabbit into that wild universe that they end up in. Like taking Naota from being like just a normal dude, a kid who just wants to like be normal and go to school and whatnot, into holy shit, you're knocking meteors away from the earth with a guitar, like that kind of shit. Whereas in this one, and then at the very end of that, you got that line, like I said, where she was like, no, I'm after Asimus. I'm the one who wants to eat him. Yeah. I want that. That's what I want. Whereas with this one, that's it like the whole time. And it's really hard to not look at that and say, well, yeah, she's the bad guy. And not just a bad, like they're trying to make her like, oh, she's the heel, she's the face. She's not even a good heel. She's just a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know? That's, I don't know. It feels weird, but
yeah,
it's not that I don't hate it. I do enjoy this show. I have enjoyed it so far. And yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. There are things definitely I can pick out. And who would have freaking thunk that, you know, we were going to be here picking things out about it?
Yeah, I mean, here we
the entire world, you know.
I'll tell you one thing. Like, I was thinking, hey, we're gonna do this series that just aired, and like it's a really huge, and everybody loves it. We're gonna get a lot of views on this one. They definitely heard like the first half a minute where you started quoting the Fall Out Boy song and turn this bitch off. You're gonna look at your analytics, and it's gonna be like, oh yeah, we're got 1 billion people. Boom, drop off half a minute in.
Maybe I should just cut that out.
Anyway.
But
all right.
My only other critique about the show is, and there's no undoing it. You can't undo it. Just I would really love the music to be louder. I mean, yeah. Compare Little Busters in the first series. Whenever that song cranks compared to the time that he played it in this one.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's real flat, dude.
That's fine.
Your Coke with lime just went flat.
It's all right. You left it outside too long.
Yeah, it's just regular. It's Coke Zero now.
Oh no!
That's been opened.
Don't do that.
It's got stevia or some shit in it.
No, it's got what's that shit called?
Sweet and low.
Aspartame.
Yeah, aspartame, dude. That's. Is
it aspartame?
Yeah,
aspartame.
It's aspartame.
Aspartame. It's got aspartame. That shit'll. Don't drink that shit. It's bad for you.
Yeah, that's.
Fuck you up.
I mean, that's those sugars that I was like stevia and shit like that. Splenda, sweet low.
This lady I follow online, she make comic book. She said a friend of hers was big on the Coca-Cola products, the Diet Cokes and the Coke Zeros, and apparently she can't have babies now.
Nice.
I'm not saying causation, correlation, but I sure as hell ain't drinking no diet sodas.
Yeah.
I don't drink soda in general. Drink water. It's good for you.
I drink some soda, but
hey, Roger,
I turned my Little Busters up with it, all right?
Let's both take a second to enjoy a sip of water. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm. I got a Brita filter. You got what is that?
It's a big old thermos full of filtered water.
What are those? What are those little cooler cups called?
It's a thermos.
There's a name for them.
It's like a thermos.
They're really, really popular ones.
It's not I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
I mean, the only reason, the only way
Yeti,
I would...
A Yeti cup.
A Yeti, okay, yeah. I definitely don't go trucking in mud, and I definitely wouldn't know what that's called. Like, come on.
All right.
What's the fucking Baylor kids have? Yeah, dude, I'm calling you out, Baylor kids. You're fine, I guess.
You're fine, I guess.
Okay,
you guys are nice.
Don't we have a good buddy that goes to Baylor? Don't we have a good buddy?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
I like all my friends.
All my friends did.
Next week, be sure you tune in for the final 3 episodes of Progressive. And then a couple months down the road, September is when it airs. We'll talk about alternative, probably in October. Brandon might get to miss those Halloween episodes of spooky animes that I want to do.
I just really don't give a shit about spooky animes.
Well, we gotta watch something spooky.
Especially the Junji Ito collection, because I've already read all those comics.
We'll talk about it later.
And figure out what we're watching after this one, because it's only 2 episodes and we're done with it
later. All right, so let's take us out. You can find us. Where at, Brandon?
Oh, we're on you got the Facebook group. That's one thing.
Good Buddies Universe.
Good Buddies Universe. We're also on the Twitter.
TGB_anime pod, and that's all lowercase.
We do have the Tumblr. That's thegoodbuddies.tumblr.com.
Mm-hmm.
We're also on YouTube, where you may be listening to this right now. Rapid Kick Media, of course.
That's also the Instagram, where you can find approximately 1 good buddy. No, two good buddies photos there.
You didn't get another one of me, did you?
No, it was a picture of a box
monster. Set. We also do have, of course, you can hear us wherever fine podcasts are sold, even though they don't actually sell this one. We're on the Stitchers. We're on the Podbeans. We're not on Spotify.
We're not on Spotify.
I use Podcast Addict. But yeah, beyond that, of course, we have the Gmail where you can send us your questions and comments.
Yeah, thegoodbuddiesanimepod@gmail.com.
Didn't have to spell it. Said it one. Got it in one, Roger. You fucking nailed it. Oh, no. Did you say T-E-G? You said T-E-G.
Yeah, I spelled the whole thing wrong.
H.
That was supposed to be the joke.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations.
I mean, here I thought you were. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if you did fuck it up, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, you wouldn't be shocked.
You're so bad at everything.
THEGOODBUDDISANIMEPOD@gmail.com.
It's the worst use of airtime ever.
They made it this far, dude.
Hey, man, you fucking nailed it. Anyway. That's it for the plugs, I believe. We do have our good buddies. I would like to, of course, give a
Seamonsters.
Yeah, shout out to our good buddies, Married with Seamonsters, a.k.a. the Mary Janes. You can find them on Spotify, but if you really want to be cool, they are on marriedwithseamonsters.bandcamp.com. That's where the cool shit is, including our opening theme, which is, of course, called A Paperdoll. We also have our good buddy Petty Theft, which you can find. He gave us our outro, which we still don't have a solid name for, but I'm got to tell you, Sweet Anime Dreams is sounding right. Send us in any comments and suggestions if you want to give us a different name for that one. We'll just round them all up and vote on it. But you can find him on both, is it Twitter and SoundCloud?
Yep.
Under Petty Theft. That's 2 P's, 2 T's. Petty Theft. He's really great. Good shit. And I think that's it for us, buddy. You're taking us out.
That's it. Now I'm going to take us out.
So, from all of us here at the Good Buddies Universe, I'm so hot. I'm sweating. I'm sorry. From all of us here at the Good Buddies Universe, I'm your good buddy Brandon.
I'm your good buddy Roger. And don't forget to swing that bat.